The truck only suffered minor injuries.
More and more these days, lasers are being used in medical technology. And while some people are skeptics, it seems hospitals are committed to lasers as the surgical tool of the future. Health Watch reporter Liz McDaniel says Seton Hospital has just recently added 2 new lasers to their list.
For a few years now, patients have been able to go to Seton Hospital for laser surgery on their eyes. But now doctors can do even more laser eye surgery because they have a new argon krypton laser. With this new laser, eye specialists can treat glaucoma, retinal tears, and many other diseases on an outpatient basis. This is a picture of the inside of the eye. Every one of these white spots is a laser burn. There are probably 100 spots here, but some laser eye surgery can take as many as 2,000 spots. But doctors say that's 10 times better than the old method because lasers mean bloodless and painless surgery.
We can give the laser energy without anesthesia. Without breaking the skin, we put a drop on the eye and apply a contact to funnel the energy and treat the individual and let him go home.
But Seton has another laser that can be used on a walk-in basis. It's a CO2 laser used mostly for dermatology. It's located at Seton 12 Oaks in northwest Austin. And dermatologist Dr. Michael Coverman plans to use it for removing things like warts and birthmarks, things that used to require minor surgery.
If you can imagine that this was a piece of skin, I have pinpoint control with no bleeding because this seals blood vessels and very little post-operative pain because it seals nerve endings.
So it appears that medicine is getting easier on the doctors and the patients. And it's nice to know that the advanced technology is becoming more available here in Austin. Liz McDaniel, 24 Action News.
If you spend much time outdoors today, then you know it was a great time to get some of those gardening chores done. Tim Ross is next with the latest in weather.
Your Chevy dealer's big USA 1 year-end sales drive is on. They're out to sell hundreds of Chevy cars and trucks by year's end. With so many to sell, it's dealing time. And to make it easy to buy now, here's a first-time offer from Chevrolet. Take retail delivery now and make no monthly payments until March 1st with GMAC financing. When you buy a new Chevette or Citation 2, or any new Blazer, pickup, Suburban, or El Camino.
To your Austin Chevrolet dealers, see Henna Chevrolet, Chevrolet Country, and Capital Chevrolet now.
We all could see it coming, and now that time's at hand. That's why we're here with help you need. Yes, we're Computerland. The world around is changing. We'll help you understand. Make friends with the future at Computerland. Make friends with the future at Computerland.
We've helped more kinds of people buy more kinds of computers than any other store in the world.
Bells presents Farrah Suede Sport Coat for the man who wants to look well-dressed with a minimum of effort. Whether completing a distinguished look or as casual sportswear, this blazer with its traditional 2-button styling will become one of your all-time favorites. The name Farrah means a blazer that fits great, and Bells has it at an unbelievable price. Now on sale for $69.99 at Bells, of course.
Kate and I believe in solid things, things with real value. So we've invested a lot in this great old place. But I still saved enough to give Kate diamonds this Christmas. And I made the most of it at Zales. I got a great buy, and Zales' 90-day refund policy. And this, she'll love it.
This is for you.
And this is for you.
Zales, the diamond store, is all you need to know for Christmas.
Well, this is nothing technical, but I know that it froze last night because the water in Boomer and Louie's bowl was frozen over this morning.
How low did it get?
A chunk of it.
It got down to 29 officially at the airport. That's a little misleading, though, because in some of the hills out in Westlake Hills and some of the river bottom areas by the Colorado River, much lower than that. We heard unofficial reports of temperatures down into the teens last night in some of the hills surrounding the Austin area. And I have to tend to believe those looking at the frost on the roof of my home in the hills northwest of Austin. It was a cold night. Whoosh was the word today. That is particularly appropriate for me as that south breeze at times kicked up to 25 miles per hour this afternoon. About time to get ready to go to work, I was out shoveling some dirt, rearranging the landscaping in my home, and I shoveled a bunch of dirt, and so did my little boy at the same time. And whoosh, his shovel full of dirt went right in my face. Not because he threw it that way, but the wind did. Whoosh was an appropriate word. We hope you had a whooshy day in the Austin area. That's a good type of day. The airport right now, fair skies, a temperature of 58 degrees. That humidity rather low, 33%. South breeze blowing at 7. It's calmed down considerably, but probably will pick up in a good way tomorrow. Barometric pressure's on the rise for you right now. Lake water temperature at Travis continues to slide down to 64 degrees at the surface right now, so I would tend to think one would not want to fall out of one's boat. Canyon Dam release is low, but it's probably too cold for tubing on the Guadalupe anyway. No rainfall the past 24 hours. Really don't expect any the next several days of any measurable quantity. Last night's official low in Austin, and there were lower temperatures, as we mentioned, down to 29. Today's high up to 63. That's 63, fairly close to average for this time of year. Gander with me, if you will, to the freeze chart. This is a chart I prepare on these cold autumn days to show you where temperatures will be at or below 32 degrees tonight. Look at it. Georgia Peach Country, the Carolinas, Tennessee and Kentucky, most of Alabama, Mississippi, parts of Louisiana. Notice the big surge of Texas warm air from the Gulf pushing that cold high into the state. So we don't expect a freeze in Austin, but in the hills north and west of the city, that is certainly possible for tonight. Satellite photo we've selected for you today shows a few high, thin clouds out in West Texas. Just a little straggly bunch of clouds. Not much to think about. Pretty much sunny skies expected for the next several days in the Austin area. And that's the satellite photo. It often shows you what you need to know to try to predict weather in the state of Texas. Sometimes it doesn't do so well, though. Here's the cold front we've spent some time talking about the last couple of days, finally inching into the Pacific Northwest. And when it did, it created some problems. Way out there is the cold front, but way down here is all the wind. As the cold front comes in, it creates a low pressure area which drags wind up from the southwest, Boulder, Colorado, Colorado Springs, and Denver, all with wind gusts in excess of 85 miles per hour at times this afternoon. Slip off to the northeast, a bunch of snow, a little place called Jay Peak, Vermont, 15 inches of snow the last 24 hours. Also Schenectady, New York, and eastern parts of that state, 63 mile per hour wind gusts. Nearby, North Adams, Massachusetts, up in the extreme northwestern corner of Massachusetts, a 90 mile per hour wind gust. Also 3 to 4 inches of snow, pretty normal and average today across New England, so they had very much blizzard conditions. The snow will continue off and on in the northeast tomorrow. Most of the south, most all of Texas under the sunshine today. The area forecast that we have worked out for the Austin area, clear and mild. A low tonight in Austin proper of 36 degrees, and into the hills north and west of Austin and in some surrounding communities, temperatures could be down to or below freezing, so keep that in mind as you head to bed. The high tomorrow should get up to about 72 degrees because that breeze will be out of the south and southwest tomorrow at 10 to 20. That's why it will be warmer. Sunny skies for the next several days. There will be a weak cool front slip through late on Friday, cooling the temperature somewhat for Saturday and Sunday, but still very nice autumn weather on the way for the Austin area.
Sounds like a good weekend. Thanks,
it should
Tim.
be.
Hugh Lewis is next with sports, and later some generous hearts band together to make Christmas dreams come true.
You're not a big company. Yet.
I'm giving you a shot, but I want delivery in 30 days.
But you do have big plans.
A day ahead of schedule. Keep it up.
I better be sure your plans include a bank that specializes in services for growing business.
Nice going. Now, how fast can you set up for a big order?
Now's the time to talk to First City. Because even though you started small, that doesn't mean you intend to stay that way. First City, reaching further, doing more.
I feel great.
Why?
Kuppenheimer's Holiday Madness Sale. See here in the newspaper.
The paper has good news?
It's the Kuppenheimer ad for their Holiday Madness Sale. The wackiest prices of the year on thousands of first-quality vested suits starting as low as $59.
That makes you feel great?
Yeah, look at the savings. 100% wool suits, $99. Corduroy sport coats, $33.
Great gifts.
Hundreds of shirts and slacks, half off and more. A dozen pair of socks, $8. All at the Holiday Madness Sale at Kuppenheimer, Highway 183 in North Lamar.
Here in the Southwest, energy usage concerns everyone. That's why more folks are turning to natural gas, an old-fashioned value with new technology. It's clean, efficient, and economical.
We're the source you can depend on, so remember us by name. We're Southern Union Gas, and we're the keeper of the
What you are about to see is not science fiction. It's Seiko Sport Tech. For the serious runner, an amazing multifunction training watch with detachable cable release. There's the world's first analog quartz chronograph. Seiko watches to time competition sports. And an incredible watch you talk to that talks back. Seiko Sport Tech. Welcome to the 21st century. Seiko watches and clocks at your authorized dealer.
Seiko watches available at Zales.
And now, the secrets of success for the Texas Longhorn basketball team.
Coach Weltlich optimistic about the rest of the season?
Yeah, I believe so, and all of the players are too. You can't fault those guys. They're young, inexperienced, but they are coming on. The Texas Longhorn basketball team won its second game in 4 tries last night when they slipped past Biscayne College of Florida 51-50. Carl Willick was the key for Texas, leading the team with 14 points, but neither Carl nor head coach Bob Weltlich were completely satisfied with that victory.
Well, we still got a lot of young guys, including myself. You know, I played 14 games last year, so I'm really almost like a freshman still. So we're young, and it's going to take us time to come around and pull together.
I don't think you're ever satisfied, and we didn't particularly play well at times, Hugh, and in the last part of the game, we lost our composure and poise a little bit, which you have a tendency to do with young players. Our free throw shooting still remains a problem, but, coming back off a very difficult loss at Iowa State and 2 losses in a row, including the UNO game, I thought that we showed a lot of enthusiasm and played hard and did some things, and, we're going to get better, and it's just going to take time, and hopefully we can win some games so our younger players don't get discouraged.
Well, don't look for the 4th-ranked Lady Longhorns to be discouraged tonight when they play UT San Antonio. Texas will be gunning for their 3rd straight win in that game, which starts at 7:30 at the Irwin Center. Another game is going on right now at the Irwin Center. A big high school girls basketball game between Del Valle and Dallas South Oak Cliff. We have a camera on the scene right now, and we will have highlights of both games for you tonight at 10. Big news from the Major League's winter baseball meeting in Nashville, Tennessee today. The Cincinnati Reds signed free agent Dave Parker of the Pittsburgh Pirates to a 2-year contract which reportedly calls for $800,000 a year. Parker was the National League batting champion 2 years, and he becomes the 2nd free agent signed by the Reds. On Monday, the Reds acquired Tony Perez from the Philadelphia Phillies. Well, you won't find a lot of free agents in the sport of wrestling, but at least high school wrestling is beginning to catch on here in Austin. Unlike the wrestling that you see on television, high school wrestling is a serious sport. In other states, it is popular on the high school and the collegiate level, and it's starting to get that way in Texas. The Austin Independent School District, for example, has money in their budget for local high schools to build their own wrestling facilities. Jim Grimm has been the head coach at Reagan for 4 years, and during that time, he has attracted more young people to his program, especially at the end of the football season.
I know this is football country, and a lot of football players like to wrestle. It seemed like wrestling would be the obvious thing for them to go to.
It's a great off-season sport for them. It works on their agility, their quickness. It keeps them in contact sport also in the off-season. I know back home where I'm from, New Jersey, that was the off-season sport for us. And I think I carry 6 football players or 7 football players on my team this year.
Well, the football players at Texas are concentrating completely on football, especially since they will go against Georgia in the Cotton Bowl on January 2nd. The Longhorns are undefeated and have collected a lot of awards this year, but when the UPI All-American team was announced today, only one Texas Longhorn was selected as an All-American. That was defensive back Jerry Gray, who is a junior at Texas. That's quite a surprise because the Associated Press picked 4 players from Texas on their All-American team. The UPI coaches feel that only one guy is deserving of that honor. I think they kind of overlooked something.
I don't understand
that. I can't believe that.
I can't believe it.
Where's everybody else from, Nebraska?
Not everybody, but there are a few players from Nebraska. Mike Rozier and Irvin Fryer, they're definitely there.
And did more UPI pollsters pick Texas to be the #1 team than AP? A little bit more than AP.
Yeah, a little bit. This is about the same.
It's still just one All-American.
Big surprise.
Can't figure those guys out.
Who can?
All right. Thank you, Hugh.
Up next, special people who help spread Christmas cheer. That story next.
Looking for gifts that never fail? Then come to Gelman Stocking Stuffer Sale. Brighten up Christmas with the flash dance look of fleece tops, just $7.99. Select between Jordache jeans for kids or ladies' Gloria Vanderbilt non-stretch denim jeans, just $21.99. Men's Nunn-Bush leather dress shoes in many styles start at $36. And you men will stay warm in flannel shirts for just $6.49. Make Christmas merry at Gelman's at 6th and Brazos in downtown Austin and stores in downtown Taylor, Georgetown, and Lockhart.
From Omega comes the Phoenix, a watch created for those with a Midas touch. The magnificent gold bracelet is meticulously handcrafted. The Swiss quartz movement incredibly precise. And unlike some gold pieces, the Omega Phoenix is fashioned entirely of 14-karat gold. The Omega Phoenix, when you can have whatever you want.
Now at Carl Meyer Jewelers, downtown and Balcones.
Frisco Electronics, we beat any price.
Well, Mr. Claus here. Sorry, but I've got to reduce the large order I placed.
Oh, Mr. Claus, you did know that there's no payment till March '84.
No, I did not.
And at Frisco Electronics, we beat any competitor's price.
No,
and
I didn't.
Did you also know you won't find a larger selection of TVs, VCRs, microwaves, phones, stereos, games, and computers? Not anywhere. So what do you say?
No payment till March? Well, that large order, double it. Ho, 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 ho.
Frisco Electronics, we beat any price. Sure you can take care of her, Rod. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Andy Granatelli. I run Tune Up Masters. We test and tune your car on a precision highway dynamometer. Under power, the dynamometer creates highway driving conditions, and we use space-age electronics to help make your car's engine run its very best. All for one guaranteed low price, only $49.95 for all cars, domestic and imports. And you can trust Tune Up Masters to do a great job, or my name isn't Andy Granatelli.
Coming up on the Action News Update tonight at 10, officials in Spain now say the death toll has risen to 92 today when two planes collided in heavy fog at Madrid's airport. Two Americans who survived that crash say they heard a big crunching sound and the plane broke up. No Americans are listed among the dead. In North Carolina, families of U.S. Marines decked trees with yellow ribbons and put out welcome home signs. It was all part of the welcome given to 1,800 Marines who survived a terrorist bombing in Beirut and returned to Camp Lejeune today. These stories and more tonight at 10. Archie?
And finally this evening, have you bought your Christmas tree yet? Well, if you have and you got it at the lot at 28th and San Gabriel, the money you spent is already at work to help a needy family. Gail Phillips explains.
There have been a lot of visitors who've walked up to the door of this North Austin home, but none has brought more welcome news to the family who lives here than these three people. Richard Johnson, the Reverend Bruno Schmidt, and Benita Rodriguez all work with the Austin Optimist Club's Christmas Needy Family program. And they came to Jill Robinson's home today to tell her she'll soon be shopping for food and clothes for her three daughters. The Robinsons are one of 4 Austin families who were chosen to be helped through the program. Rodriguez, a community representative with the Austin Independent School District, suggested the Robinsons as a family needing help. Today she got a check from the Optimist Club, and sometime next week she'll take Robinson and her daughters shopping for shoes, clothes, and all the fixings for a Christmas dinner. Robinson said she'd always heard about organizations helping families at Christmas, but she never dreamed it would happen to her.
Well, my kids are going to have a happier Christmas. And, you know, things I can't, I mean, I can give them things, but things I can give more of with help other people. And that really makes it Christmas for me. Yeah.
The Austin Optimist Club raised $1,000 this year to help Robinson and 3 other families through the sale of Christmas trees at one of their lots. And even though people buying those trees probably didn't know it at the time, they were giving Jennifer Robinson, her sisters, and 25 other Austin youngsters a Christmas to remember. Gail Phillips, 24 Action News.
That's the Christmas spirit. That's the news for now. We'll see you at 10.
Good night.
For that special sentimental Christmas remembered and the wide-eyed anticipation of Christmas to come, discover the spirit of North Cross Mall.
When it comes time to kick up your heels, you want a beer that won't slow you down.
Turn it loose, turn it loose, turn it loose tonight. Coors Light, turn it loose tonight. Don't hold back, don't hold back. Turn it loose tonight. Coors Light. Beer after beer when you're moving around. Coors Light is the one that
needs growth.
She was the driving force in establishing the state's first rape crisis center.
She's a truly effective citizens advocate working to pass state laws on credit reform and education.
Experienced and committed, Kathy Bonner, Democrat for State Senate.
For the merriest Christmas ideas at really low prices, no one puts it together like Target. Now's the time to save on Target's entire stock of artificial Christmas trees. Save 1/3 on 2 to 7.5 foot high trees. Choose flock trees or green trees with long or short needles. All are flame retardant and come with stand. A beautiful selection of artificial Christmas trees, now 1/3 off. This Christmas, shop and save at Target.
KTVB TV 36 in Austin.
Law officers meet in Austin to discuss Henry Lee Lucas and 39 unsolved murders. A local organization expresses concern over a possible MOPAC extension, and Cabbage Patch dolls sell like hotcakes in Austin for a brief time. Next on News 36 Tonight.
News 36 Tonight with Nelson Duffel, Lizette Martinez, Kathy Turner, and Vic Jacobs.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. Investigators from several states will be interviewing Henry Lee Lucas about 30 unsolved murders.
Law enforcement officials met in Austin today to discuss 39 cases, but agreed Lucas was not a potential suspect in 9 of them. Jim Moore tonight has this report on the conference.
Henry Lee Lucas does not look like a mass murderer. He is small and quiet, but he has killed relentlessly for sex, and he is awaiting his 3rd murder trial in Central Texas. 57 law officers from 4 different states are meeting in Austin today to trade information on Lucas. Police say they have evidence Lucas has murdered in 23 states. They know the one-eyed drifter is a killer, but when he confesses to 165 slayings, they don't think he's a liar.
At this point, about 35 murders have been cleared from the standpoint of confirming his involvement in them.
The former mental patient who killed his mother has been convicted of 2 other murders. Officers are saying Lucas is very cooperative in their investigations because he regrets stabbing and dismembering his 15-year-old girlfriend.
This is about the only remorse that we can detect. I feel like that he's tired of running.
Officers here admit they don't understand Lucas. Many of them don't even want to. They're only thankful for his cooperation and wonder each day what new horror story the killer might unveil. Jim Moore for News 36.
A local environmental group is worried tonight that MOPAC may be extended further south than has been planned. The Save the Barton Creek Association can't do anything to prevent the extension that's currently being built from Loop 360 to Highway 290 south. But another group is now pushing to have the roadway extended even further. Lydia Saldana tonight has this Sky 36 report on what the Barton Creek group is proposing as an alternative.
Members of the Save Barton Creek Association are ready to fight against the idea of extending MOPAC even further south into the environmentally sensitive Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone. And instead of just protesting, the group has come up with its own plan.
I'm hoping we're acting in a positive fashion rather than a negative, don't do it sort of manner.
MOPAC will extend here to US 290 when it's completed in late 1986. And association members say if it's extended any further south, it will damage the aquifer. The Save Barton Creek Association Aquifer Alternative Roadway Plan calls for Ben White to be upgraded to a freeway. William Cannon would be upgraded to 6 lanes, as would Slaughter Lane to accommodate east-west traffic. Instead of that MOPAC extension, north-south traffic could be handled by 6-lane roads at Manchac and the edge of the recharge zone. Other north-south traffic is proposed to be handled through 4-lane roads at Latta, Brody, and Westgate.
Association members say their plan will spread traffic out instead of causing more congestion.
Association members also say their plan will route traffic away from the recharge zone. The Urban Transportation Commission is currently looking at the Southwest Roadway Plan, and a public hearing is scheduled next month. Lydia Saldana, News 36 Tonight.
Austin High School received its Excellence in Education Award today from the Department of Education. A representative from the Secretary of Education's office presented the plaque to school principal Jackie McGee. Austin High School was selected as one of the nation's top 80 schools based on its high test scores, its varied curriculum, and high attendance records. McGee said the award would be a motivation to keep the school striving toward excellence in education.
At the Western Governors Conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Democratic presidential hopefuls today blasted the president for the invasion of Grenada and the U.S. presence in Lebanon. Ken Bodie has the story.
At a press conference with the Western governors and other Democratic candidates, George McGovern predicted that by election time next year, America would be actively at war on two fronts, the Middle East and Central America. McGovern said that those wars would be an extension of election year politics.
The president has been encouraged by the public response he got to this totally unjustified invasion of Grenada. He remembers the popularity surge of Mrs. Thatcher after the Falkland Islands War.
It turns out that most of the other Democrats had reached the same conclusion.
To be made that the presidency's political gains can be made pattern after Margaret Thatcher in England.
Oh, I think that's entirely possible. We know that Americans traditionally, if anyone is being killed in the military forces, Marines or anyone else, we know that there's sort of a rallying around the flag.
I think Reagan has fallen victim to using war policy, exploiting fundamental American patriotism. For us to be beating our chests about invading and occupying a nation without a standing army should have been a signal.
They kept you, the media, out. I'm told now that one of the first groups in there was the Republican National Committee TV crews. You don't charge the president categorically. There was more politics going in than national security in Grenada.
The Republican National Committee and the Reagan-Bush Committee both denied they had camera crews on Grenada. But Senator Paul Laxalt, who heads both committees, today talked about Mr. Reagan's latest polls taken after Grenada. They show him at least 16 points ahead of the two Democratic frontrunners, Mondale and Glenn. Last summer, before Grenada, the president's polls showed him 7 to 11 points behind. Ken Bodie, NBC News, Albuquerque.
A large crowd lined the dock in Morehead City, North Carolina this morning to welcome home some 1,800 Marines back from their duty in Beirut. A few hours earlier, Syrian officials turned over the body of Navy pilot Mark Lang, who died after his plane was shot down over Lebanon Sunday. Investigators in Spain think that a Spanish DC-9 may have gotten lost in heavy fog before it collided with another Spanish jet taking off at the Madrid airport. More than 90 people were killed in the crash this morning. Tomorrow is homecoming day for the Space Shuttle Columbia. It's scheduled to touch down in the morning at Edwards Air Force Base, California, with a slew of scientific information gathered by Spacelab. And December 7th, 1941, 42 years ago today, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. The event caused the United States to enter World War II. 2,403 American servicemen lost their lives in that attack. When we come back, Laurie Cohen has a warning for those planning to fly.
And the rush was on for Cabbage Patch dolls in Austin today.
Enjoy your pizza, and here's your free bowling coupon.
Oh, what's this?
From now until January 1st, with every Mr. Gatti's pizza, you get a coupon for one free game of bowling.
Great. Kids, now we can go bowling. Oh, neat.
You can use the free bowling coupon at any of the fine bowling centers in Austin, Round Rock, and San Marcos. And while you're bowling, you could win a free Mr. Gatti's pizza.
Come on, Dad! Don't miss this great holiday offer for Mr. Gatti's and the fine bowling centers in Austin, Round Rock, and San Marcos.
Where to, McKean? Go, McKean. It's McKean. He's McKean. Hello, McKean.
McKean, only at Foley's.
It's Straight's World of Music Christmas sale, and Straight Music would like to be your Santa by reducing prices by up to 40% store-wide. Save over $3,000 on Yamaha grand pianos. Save up to $1,425 on upright models. New Spinet pianos as low as $11.95. Baldwin and Yamaha organs at up to 30% savings. Large selection of used organs as low as $395. This Christmas, play it straight with a gift of a lifetime from Straight Music and save up to 40%. Straight Music, 908 North Lamar.
Hi, Forrest Tucker here for Weberg Furniture.
I want to tell you about WeBird's biggest savings event. It's their amazing free credit offer. Huh? Free credit, absolutely no interest or finance charges on any furniture you buy, and you can take up to 1 full year to pay for it. Now, just imagine, now you can buy furniture at WeBird's unbeatable low prices and pay no credit charges whatsoever. You just can't beat these savings anywhere. Believe me.
If you haven't heard about Cabbage Patch dolls by now, then you're missing out on the latest craze to hit the nation. Obviously, the crowd that lined up outside the Edison store in North Austin this morning had heard about them. The store got an unexpected shipment of the dolls, and as Rhonda Pennington tells us tonight, they didn't last long.
Long lines began forming outside the Edison store as early as 7:30 this morning. Some people had driven from as far as Georgetown just to get a Cabbage Patch doll.
I've been calling every store every day looking for one of these dolls.
But only the first 90 who arrived got the Magic Claim tickets. More than 300 were turned away.
And inside, here they were, the objects of so much desire, patiently waiting to be taken to their adopted homes.
Jackson Scott, Mary Lou Regina, and Candy Helene. The so-called parents rushed to claim their kids, more than willing to pay the $19.87 for them. Still, only parents could love faces like these.
Oh, I love it. It's so pretty. They're worth waiting for.
We wanted ball-headed, and we got them. She's cute. I wanted a little boy, but she'll do.
But it seems not all parents love them equally.
Okay, I plan on selling it. I'll put it in the paper, and I'm hoping for about $200.
But will there be more dolls for the begging and selling?
There are still more ordered, but whether or not they can come in before Christmas is anybody's guess.
The most the store can offer is a rain check. Rhonda Pennington, News 36, tonight.
Santa Claus has some dedicated helpers here in Austin this year. 5th and 6th graders from Reed, Doss, and Cook Elementary School have chipped in to help him answer Christmas wish letters. Now, in the past, Reed Elementary has been flooded with as many as 5,000 letters.
Hello, hello, hello.
Today, Santa dropped off a stack of the letters to Mrs. Milstead's 5th grade class at Reed.
So, I've got a bunch of them here. Can I count on your help? Yeah! Yeah? Okay, great.
Students from Doss and Cook were also on hand to meet with Santa. The letters are from kindergarten through 2nd graders throughout Austin.
It says, Dear Santa, I have been good, not fighting. I play with my brother, and I want a Imperial Walker. Love, Justin Tracy. My reply was, Dear Justin, I will try to get you an Imperial Walker. It's really busy up here. I hope you're having a Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho. Well, I have to go. Mrs. Claus has dinner on the table, and I just smell makes me hungry. Bye, and have a Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Love, Santa.
After the students agreed to help Santa out, they got an early Christmas gift and talked about the meaning of Christmas.
Get to the houses. How do I get into your houses? Okay, very good.
And a little magic. So far, the schools have received more than 3,000 letters from Santa, and that's enough to give even Santa's helpers writer's cramp.
Last week, an Austin travel agency was robbed, and now it appears that robbery may cause a lot of problems for Austin consumers. Laurie Cohen explains why in tonight's Troubleshooter Report.
Birds are going, people are going, planes are going. Everyone seems to be going somewhere this holiday season. And wouldn't you go too if you found a great, inexpensive deal on a trip? In Austin these days, you may indeed find one and pay what you think is an inexpensive price for a vacation and then end up with nothing. You see, last week, the Golden World Travel Agency on Burnett Road was robbed. Taken were 90 airline tickets and 55 airline validation plates. So whoever stole these tickets may be selling bogus tickets. They'll look real and they'll be filled out and stamped like any other legitimate ticket. But Dolly Golden of Golden World Travel says all the airlines in the country have been notified of their numbers, and you can expect to be stopped dead in your tracks if you present one at an airline ticket counter.
If the person is using the bogus ticket, they will be in trouble. The ticket will be taken away. They'll lose the money that they paid for the ticket, and they're just going to have a miserable holiday.
Best
thing to remember if you're buying a ticket for your vacation, don't buy one off the street or through the newspaper. There are plenty of reputable travel agencies in Austin. You'd be a lot better going to one of them. Lori Cohen, News 36, tonight.
Up next, Kathy tells us whether this cold spell will continue.
And later, Vic tells us more about his trip to New York.
We'd like to remind you that a gift from Hickory Farms of Ohio can say Merry Christmas to someone rather tough to buy for. It can say nice job, or even say we miss you. But at Hickory Farms, our gifts also say something about the person who gives them.
Come to Hickory Farms.
Hello, Marge.
We love it. We'll give you a taste of old-time country goodness.
Hickory Farms of Ohio at Barton Creek and Highland Malls.
At Barton Creek Square, we have a sparkling array of gifts for the season, for everyone on your list. Everything bright to express the joy of the holidays. Shimmering with color, shop Barton Creek Square for Christmas with all the trimmings. Brighten your holiday season. Add a little flash, a little color, and lots of sparkle. For the merriest Christmas, Barton Creek Square.
Dealers for Christmas.
Sweet dreams and the soft caress of lace artistry by Vassarette. With the dreamy elegance of antique lace by Flair. Perfect gifts for the dreamer in your life. So delicate, so feminine, where dreams come true.
Dillard's Naturally.
Time now to check in with Kathy Turner to talk about the weather, and we've got a little cold temperature out there. How long will that last for us?
Well, I'll tell you what. Tonight it's going to be rather chilly again. There is a possibility of scattered frost. Tomorrow not quite as cold, but then again tonight won't be as cold as it was last night. Last night we dropped down to 29 degrees, and the last time we were anywhere near as cold was last year in January. On the 23rd we were 30 degrees. This is the first time so far this season we've been that cold. Taking a look at our afternoon high. This afternoon we reached at 63 degrees. Last night again 29. Sun will rise tomorrow morning at 7:15. Right now we're at 50 degrees. We have fair skies. Humidity is 48%. We have a rising barometer, and winds are out of the southwest at 4 miles an hour. Our lake level showing pretty steady at Buchanan and Canyon, while Travis is up 94/100ths of a foot. And along our national map, what we're seeing basically is a cold front that has moved off the east coast. And behind that cold front, there is an intense system that dropped almost 2 feet of snow across the Vermont area. Travelers advisories posted. The snow squalls are moving off the Great Lakes, and they are expecting more snow before the entire system moves off the coast. There is a low pressure system right now in Missouri. This is a small but quick moving system, dropping 2 to 4 inches of snow tonight. And further off to our west, we're seeing a ridge of high pressure. This was responsible for our very cool temperatures last night, also responsible for fair conditions this afternoon, and it looks like another good day in store for tomorrow. Pacific Northwest, we're seeing just a very abrasive system move in. 100-mile-an-hour winds this afternoon as across the Oregon coast, and heavy snows are expected tonight across the northern Rockies and into Montana. Our satellite photo then this evening, we're seeing some cloudiness moving into the state of Texas. Some of this coming in off the Gulf as moisture is rising up with the circulation around that high pressure, but it also means a warming trend, very gradual, but working into tomorrow. The northeast or the northwest, this is where we're seeing the heaviest snow cover and cloud cover. This is all the same system. We'll be moving off to the south and east, tracking up again to the northeast. Now taking a look at conditions around the area, again, we have a chance for scattered frost tonight, but temperatures rather moderate. We're still sitting in the 50-degree range, down at 61 in Brownsville, and 36 has already dropped to in the Amarillo area. Tonight we expect to drop down to near freezing, probably the mid-30s. Now in town, probably closer to the upper 30s. Outlying areas a lot colder. Winds stay out of the south-southwest at 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow near 15-mile-an-hour winds, and temperatures gradually working their way up to the low 70s. Fair sky conditions. And then on Thursday, we do have a chance, or Friday, for partly cloudy sky conditions. Should be clearing out for the weekend. Temperatures moderating right in there in the mid-70s. Also looking at overnight lows in the 40s. But tomorrow morning, 7:30 at the bus stop, you do want to kind of bundle up. It'll be clear and cold again. Temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. Let's call it 37.
Let's call it cold.
Let's call it cold.
Okay.
We'll do it.
Thanks, Kathy. Next in sports, more on last night's College Football Hall of Fame ceremony.
Also, Texas NBA highlights.
For the merriest Christmas gifts at really low prices, no one puts it together like Target. For golf or anywhere, Actionwear Knits is the look, and Fairway is the name to look for. Easy Care Actionwear from Fairway, and Fairway for her. Choose classic pinstripes for her, bold stripes and tailored collars for him. Men's and Mrs. sizes, sale priced at $8.99. Also for her, solid knit shirts, just $7.99. This Christmas, shop and save at Target.
No matter where you're driving in the Hill Country, or any place in Texas for that matter, you'll enjoy it more in an 84 from Cimarron. You'll enjoy the savings too. We save you at least $100, pay you $300 in cash. Guarantee it with a notarized buyer's bond.
Cimarron, Chevy Olds Buick, Highway 281 South, Burnett, Texas.
Halston perfume. Sensuous. Extravagant. Captivating. Pure Halston perfume. Now this perfume spray and fragrance stick of $50 value are just $8.50 with any fragrance purchase, just for Christmas.
Available at Dillard's.
Vic is back from the Big Apple, and Broadway was filled with Texas Longhorns last night, wasn't it?
Lizette, a slice of heaven in New York City. Good evening, sports fans. College Football Hall of Fame euphoria continues tonight. New York's Waldorf Astoria is still reeling from last night's assembly of football greats, highlighted by the induction of Texas dynasty builder Darrell Royal, who is joined by a host of friends after the ceremony in the Texas room of the Waldorf Astoria. Earl Campbell and fellow Hall of Famer, former Texas great Bud McFadden was there. Then there was a guy named Orenthal James.
This is great.
Well, obviously it's flattering to know 15 years after you played in college that they see fit to honor you. What's more flattering is some of the people that I'm going into the Hall of Fame with. I mean, I am just knocked down to be going in with Dick Butkus, who I thought was the best football player I've ever seen. I think nobody's ever played their position better than him. And one of the coaches I probably admire, I had an opportunity to play against him, fortunately, Woody Hayes, who I wish I had the opportunity to play a little bit for. So when I look at Floyd Little and you know, Darrell Royal and these guys that are being inducted, I'm especially proud.
I'm still floating from last night's football festivities. Darrell Royal, Bud McFadden, a glorious night for Texas football. Okay, after their hardwood basketball war in Tennessee last week, you'd expect the Lady Longhorns to have a letdown tonight. Forget it, no way. Against UT San Antonio, Kami Etheridge to Audrey Smith to Andrea Lloyd. Pretty pass. That's two of Annette Smith's game-high 31. Why is Annette Smith an All-American? Well, watch her hustle on defense. She will reject this roadrunner shot coming up. She plays both ways. That is why she will be All-American in '83. Another horn exchange. Kami Etheridge to Shell Bolin off glass for two. Horns roll by 45 double. The Lady Roadrunners 90 to 45 tonight. And are the Dallas Mavericks for real? Who cares, right? Because they've been blowing away the West this year. Mavs and the Bullets of the East, though, tonight. Very physical. Mavs, Bill Garnett in the middle of the screen. Did you see him punch Jeff Ruland? One more time, left of your screen. Watch that punch. Ruland says, who was that guy? Anyway, Mark Aguirre rolling tonight up in. He was hacked. Then the Mavs' Dale Ellis will hit from Arlington for three. Rolando Blackman says, I can do it with the J. And the Bullets on the break now. But watch, Rolando Blackman takes the pass. Says, Mark Aguirre is hot. Give him the ball. Mark wheels and deals. Goes in for two, but not enough. The very physical Bullets won it by a bucket over Dallas tonight. And the Houston Rockets travel to Mecca tonight. No, not the birthplace of Ralph Sampson, but Milwaukee's Mecca Arena. The Bucks. Alton Lister says, I can't go under Ralph. I'm going over Ralph Sampson for two. But Ralph responds with a jam right there in Lister's face. But then Sidney Moncrief, not so super, air ball, Sampson, outlet to Lewis Lloyd, Black Magic for two. And Ralph again There's some action underneath. Two more for Sampson. Watch this now. Lloyd will kick Sidney Moncrief in his hip, but it was a foul on Moncrief. Who are these referees? Anyway, Bridgman, final J, and the Bucks won it by 2. San Antonio needs a win bad, losing by 2 early to the Clippers on the West Coast. And hey, if there's one team that the Denver Nuggets better play some serious defense on, it's the world champion Philadelphia 76ers tonight from the Spectrum. Sixers and the Nuggets. Doug Moe said, watch out for Bobby Jones. This guy can score. More Philly. All Philly tonight. Andrew Toney misses Moses Malone for 2. Not so average tipping by Moses, but you think this is average? Julius Erving on the rainbow alley-oop. And Moses had 30 points tonight over 3 Nuggets. Sixers won it by 5 tonight. And that's it from the nation's capital.
Thank you, Vic, and it's nice to have you back.
Good to be back.
Up next, a look at the worst.
But then again, the biggest attention
I was
getters.
mugged 3 times.
Oh.
Capital City Savings pays high interest on insured accounts.
You can count on it.
Capital City Savings, where actions speak louder than words.
Dillard's for Christmas. Delight the active woman in your life with a gift of stylish sweatshirts and pants from the Beverly Hills Polo Club collection. Now at Dillard's, an array of luscious colors in cotton blend for extra comfort. Surprise her this Christmas with styles from the exclusive Beverly Hills Polo Club Sweat Crew. Sensational. Dillard's, naturally.
Here in the Southwest, energy usage concerns everyone. That's why more folks are turning to natural gas, an old-fashioned value with new technology. It's clean, efficient, and economical.
We're the source you can depend on, so remember us by name. We're Southern Union Gas, and we're the keeper of the flame. Come on and look. We're the new Wyatts. Look, the new Wyatts.
It was enough to make you cry. In tribute to the very worst in Austin, TV, radio, and print, the Austin Advertising Club held its annual Baddie Awards tonight. And bad they were. Hosted by our very own Vic Jacobs, Dave Jarrett, Joyce Isaacs, and Mel Pennington, the awards singled out the most tasteless, tacky, and senseless displays of advertising to appear in the Austin media this year. Why were you chosen as a judge?
I fit the bill.
I guess so.
I just got back from the streets of New York, and luckily I survived. You know, it's funny because we're all in the Waldorf Astoria, all the Texas Longhorns, and we rented a suite. And I don't know if anyone came back. That party was going long into the night. I mean, it was just amazing. Doak Walker showed up. I mean, football greats just kept coming in. It was just an incredible night for any sports fan. I'm still floating.
I saw OJ in the background. That looked like a real thrill.
Anytime you see the juice, it's a thrill.
It's a thrill.
Get him out of here.
Thank you. That's our news tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good evening.
The news brought to you tonight in part by Foley's.
It's Academy for Christmas. As a little boy wrote Santa years ago, please bring me a football, a wagon, and a doll for my sister, and please buy them at Academy because they're cheaper. Shop the largest assortment of Coleman products, all at the lowest prices. Jackets of all kinds, all leather bomber jackets, $98.88. Tanker jackets or one lot of parkas, $12.88 each. Jogging suits, one lot, only $6.66. Sleeping bags, all fibers and fills, all one-half price. Backpacks, $2.88 and up at Academy. Academy, the most interesting stores, 4 big stores to serve you, open all day Sunday.
It's fun to shop at Academy.
You could spend all your free time analyzing your investment options. You could spend a small fortune on books, research, and financial guides. And even after you make your decisions, your investments don't take care of themselves. Now, now's the time to talk to First City. We can develop an organized plan for your financial growth and then help manage your investments so you can spend less time worrying about your money and more time enjoying it. First City. reaching further, doing more.
Never have to wax your floors again because the Armstrong Floor Show and Sale is going on now at Fashion Floors. For a limited time, Armstrong Collector Sleighing is on sale at $19.95 a yard installed. 16 stunning colors and patterns of inlaid no-wax vinyl built to keep the new look far longer than most vinyl no-wax floors. This special sale is available only from your Armstrong Floor fashion centers like Fashion Floors. So hurry, sale ends March 26th.
Homes won a financial victory in court today. Attorneys had asked for additional money to call expert witnesses for the defense. And there will be some house cleaning next year for the Travis County voter rolls. We'll have those stories and much more for you coming up in the Channel 7 News 6 o'clock report, plus the latest in weather from Mike Chalinas and sports with Dean Hodgson. Now stay tuned for the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Moments from now, this quiet, just before sunset strip in the California desert will be the landing pad for Space Shuttle Mission 9, delayed 8 hours in homecoming by computer hardware glitches. Good evening. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. On the longest space shuttle mission yet, this is the much longer than expected last day. CBS News correspondent Morton Dean is at the Johnson Space Center in Houston with details of the delayed, better safe than sorry shuttle landing, now just minutes away in the California desert. Mort?
Dan, the Columbia has rocketed out of space and is now swiftly gliding home toward a scheduled landing at California's Edwards Air Force Base about 16.5 minutes from now. Soon the shuttle will cross the California coastline high over Fresno and east of Bakersfield. It will be moving in a southeasterly direction. The irony of today's delayed landing is that NASA had tried to make a good flight better by extending it a day from yesterday to today.
There had been no hint of trouble as the crewmen prepared for a landing this morning at about 11 Eastern Time. They had stowed their scientific gear in the laboratory, a little work and play before they moved into the shuttle cabin for the trip home. That's when Commander John Young noticed something had gone wrong.
I think it was the upfiring jets that made these things fail. I really do. It really hit the vehicle hard.
Those little jets help maneuver the spacecraft while it's in orbit. When the jets fired, 2 of the 5 onboard computers malfunctioned. The jets and the computers are connected electronically. One computer came back to life, but the other was useless. Virtually the entire spacecraft is computer controlled. Other computers picked up the load. Later, in a possibly related problem, a navigational device failed.
Columbia, Houston, we think IMU-1 has failed. We would like you to go ahead and turn it off.
2 backup units were brought online.
We should emphasize the 6-man crew was in no danger. NASA wanted to better understand what went wrong before committing to a landing. Our coverage of that landing will begin in just a few minutes. Dan?
Thank you, Morton. There also were some unusual developments today in President Reagan's travels. On-the-road security for the president was beefed up as he spoke to educators in Indiana. White House correspondent Leslie Stahl reports the president stressed going back to the ABC basics and also D, not as in more classroom dollars, but D as in more classroom discipline.
The president's subject today was the nation's schools, but those traveling with him got an education in how the White House brings its new highly tightened security measures on the road. Buses and dump trucks, similar to those that have been surrounding the White House, block nearly every intersection the president's motorcade passed. And police in Indianapolis were on special alert for any trouble. They did pursue one man suspected of carrying a bomb. His bag, though, was empty. Once safely at the Education Forum, Mr. Reagan called for a restoration of good old-fashioned discipline in the nation's schools.
In too many schools across the land, teachers can't teach because they lack the authority to make students take tests and hand in homework. Some don't even have the authority to quiet down their class. In some schools, teachers suffer verbal and physical abuse. I can't say it too forcefully. This must stop.
He called for a cleaning up of the drug problem in the schools.
Whatever it takes, we must make certain that America's schools are temples of learning and not drug dens.
None of the suggestions the president made to improve education costs any money, an issue that dominated the conference and brought Mr. Reagan considerable criticism.
Certainly we welcome the attention that's been given to public education, but again, rhetoric alone will not do it. We need additional dollars.
The president is setting up new academic fitness awards for outstanding students, another initiative that won't cost money. And no wonder. Administration sources say that Mr. Reagan's 1985 budget proposal for education is certain to be lower than this year's spending level. Leslie Stahl, CBS News, Indianapolis.
Regina believes the electric broom power team is the one lightweight that cleans like a heavyweight. And Consumer Reports states,
Regina Power Team, far ahead of the pack in cleaning ability.
Of all the lightweights tested,
only one worked well.
On medium pile carpeting, Power Team
did the job with the least effort.
In fact, it's the only one Consumer Reports calls
an adequate substitute for a full-size vacuum.
The electric broom Power Team from Regina. Consumer Reports check rates it. You will too.
There's more for your Christmas at Sears.
More ways to make Dad smile. With any set in this hand tool group, just $16.99. More ways to say Merry Christmas. Any one of these Craftsman tools, only $59.99. Or try a 90-piece Craftsman tool set for $88. Or really open eyes with this Sears 1/3 horsepower garage door opener, now $129.99. So wrap up a beautiful Christmas, because
there's more for your life at Sears.
2 weeks after walking out of the intermediate-range missile talks with the United States, the Soviet Union today suspended the strategic arms negotiations, the so-called START talks. Moscow said that deployment of medium-range U.S. nuclear missiles in Europe had changed the global strategic situation and required a Soviet policy review. More on this from Bob Schieffer at the State Department.
The Soviet message was delivered to the U.S. negotiators in Geneva. The Soviets didn't say they were breaking off the talks for good, but they said they were leaving and could not say when they'd be back. It was the second dose of bad news in less than a month for U.S. negotiators, since talks broke down before Thanksgiving on shorter-range missiles in Europe. In Washington, however, the administration took the position that while the news wasn't good, it could have been worse.
This was a regular adjournment that was scheduled to take place. And the Soviet Union, in departing, simply said that they were not prepared at this time to set a date for resumption of meetings.
This has happened in the past in SALT II. There were times when we didn't set a resumption date, when the Soviets didn't set a resumption date. It's part of the usual course of negotiations.
There has been some talk that if the Russians do decide to resume negotiations, they might want to merge the talks on long and shorter range missiles, but Edelman said today that would just complicate things. And a NATO document released today, which details the thus far unsuccessful negotiations on the shorter range missiles in Europe, underscores that the two sides are still far apart and says Soviet intransigence is the problem. The United States wants to resume negotiations in February, but even if the Soviets do come back to the bargaining table, many experts are pessimistic about reaching an agreement anytime soon. Gerard Smith, the veteran diplomat who negotiated the SALT I agreement, told a Washington audience today he couldn't remember a time when the outlook for arms control was so bad. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, the State Department.
No actual sales are planned at present, but Argentina, effective Saturday, will be able once again to purchase military weapons from the United States. The State Department, citing dramatic improvement in the Argentine human rights situation, said the arms sales ban will be lifted with the inauguration of President-elect Raul Alfonso. The finger-pointing began in Spain today following the deadly runway collision of two jetliners at Madrid's airport. 93 people were killed there yesterday. Airport officials blamed one of the pilots. The pilots' union blamed the airport. Richard Roth is in Madrid.
As authorities explained it today, the fatal chain of events had begun with a wrong turn. The Aviaco DC-9 was under instructions to turn right and taxi into takeoff position behind the Iberian Airlines jet. But the DC-9 didn't turn far enough. In heavy fog, it rolled past a no-entry sign on a one-way ramp and onto a collision course with the larger jet already racing down the runway. The Spanish Airline Pilots Association today said the one-way ramp was poorly marked, the no-entry sign unlit.
The Spanish equivalent to the FAA just has not taken the measures to put those signs up or to paint those stripes on the ground. That's what it's all about.
The pilots group said it has been pointing out the need for better airport markings since 1979 and urging Spanish officials to install a ground radar system like those used at major airports worldwide. Ground radar helps control tower workers electronically track a plane on the ground, even when bad weather limits visibility. Spain's director of civil aviation said that kind of system here would cost nearly $4 million and added it hasn't been bought because Madrid has just 4 or 5 foggy days a year. Today was another one of them, and hundreds of travelers at Barajas Airport this morning were delayed. As operations stopped yesterday because of the crash, stage shut down today until the fog lifted. When the airport reopened, the first incoming passengers included Spain's king and queen. The royal couple had canceled lunch with President Reagan and cut short a visit to America on hearing of the tragedy. Of the 42 survivors, more than a dozen were at home today, including 2 Americans who live in Madrid.
I would never get on a plane to leave Madrid Airport in the fog until I was sure that they did have ground radar.
The crash victims were mourned in a special mass at the airport chapel, just as others were 10 days ago after the crash of a Colombian Airlines 747. Once again, high-ranking church and government officials came to join relatives and friends in remembering the dead. Richard Roth, CBS News, Madrid.
3 more men were charged today in connection with Britain's biggest robbery, the theft of $39 million in gold and diamonds from a Heathrow Airport warehouse last month. Earlier this week, a security guard at that warehouse was charged in the heist. West German Economics Minister Otto Lambsdorff today became the first cabinet official in the country's history to be formally charged with a crime. He was charged with accepting a bribe in return for a multi-million-dollar tax break for West Germany's giant Flick conglomerate. Last week, West Germany's parliament lifted Lambsdorff's immunity from prosecution.
Insight. It's one of the investor's most valuable tools. It's the merging of knowledge, experience, and intuition. It is the ability to sense where the crowd is going before the crowd does. As respected advisors to the serious investor, we at Shearson American Express believe it is insight, not magic, that makes money. Shearson American Express and the serious investor. Minds over money.
It splits the dark with a powerful beam. Spotlighter rechargeable light from Black & Decker. A light built so strong it can survive a drop of 6 feet. Spotlighter stores all the power you need in its own recharging base. So on a moment's notice, it gives you light. Light for your safety. Light for your peace of mind. Black & Decker Spotlighter. It's one utility light that does more than just shine.
A federal grand jury in Reno, Nevada today indicted a federal judge. The 7-count indictment against U.S. District Judge Harry Claiborne includes charges of tax evasion and bribery. The witness, said to be the judge's chief accuser, a brothel owner who fled to Brazil to avoid a prison term, but who returned to Nevada this week as part of what is believed to be a plea bargaining arrangement. Judge Claiborne's reaction tonight, to repeat his past contention of innocence. Quote, "I am right," he said, "I will be proven right." A sign of the times today reported by the Census Bureau. Almost 15% of working women with children aged 5 and under now make use of daycare or other outside-the-home child care services. Among the main reasons why, more single-parent families and smaller families, so that they aren't older children around to take care of the younger ones. There are those who believe that just about everything we use in everyday life is dangerous. Well, today the Consumer Federation of America listed what it calls the 10 most dangerous consumer products. And the Consumer Action Group said automobiles led the list, associated with almost 140 deaths a day. Cigarettes, in second place, are cited as playing a role in as many as 300,000 premature deaths a year. And the group said alcohol, often mixed with auto deaths, ranked as the 3rd most dangerous product. The Federation also included several warnings for 700 products ranging from some acne medications to space heaters. Back to Morton Dean now at the Johnson Space Center in Houston as the craft and crew of Space Shuttle Mission 9 prepare to touch down at their California Desert landing strip at Edwards Air Force Base. Mort?
50 feet per second, 20 miles from the runway.
The Columbia is heading home with its 6-man crew and billion-dollar cargo, the billion-dollar European Space Lab. It has cleared the coast of California and is now less than, well, just about 3 minutes from touching down at Edwards Air Force Base, the sprawling complex in the Mojave Desert of California. With me covering the return of this remarkable flying machine is astronaut Kathy Sullivan. It's remarkable, Kathy, in a positive sense, even though there were some problems today.
Well, Mort, you fly something this beautiful and complex, you don't expect it always to go flawlessly, but as she rolls around onto final now, there are no signs of this morning's computer problems. It's looking great.
My first thought whenever I see a shuttle on its return is that it's a glider now.
Flying the vehicle around the heading alignment circle.
No engine power, one and only one chance at a successful landing.
John took manual command just a minute ago, Mort, and he's now flying it in
Commander John
with the
Young.
stick.
12 miles from the runway.
There's the chase plane providing the TV pictures joining up.
And we have chase plane picture.
Beautiful shot.
The 40th manned mission of the U.S. spacecraft.
Pre-final, 17,000 feet, coming down at 128 feet per second, 10 miles from the runway.
Runway 17 at Edwards Air Force Base is where it will
Flight
land.
Dynamics officer reports looks very good coming around heading alignment circle.
It's a hard-packed desert, 7.3 miles long, a lot of runway out there for the shuttle.
Very large turn around the heading alignment circle, 309 degrees.
Of course, John Young has done this before, Kathy. He's an old hand.
That's right, and I think he likes flying Columbia.
Roger, surface winds are calm.
Shuttle flight, or 6 space flight, second on the shuttle.
10,000 feet, dropping 170 feet per second, 7 miles from runway.
1 minute to touchdown.
Columbia is on center line and on glide slope.
The approach will be about 2 times as fast as that of a commercial DC-9. The shuttle will be approaching the runway at about...
Its final approach to the runway, 5
final
miles
approach
out.
At 328 miles per hour.
5,000 feet.
John will begin to pull back the stick now here in just a minute in a pre-flare maneuver to shallow his angle.
Approximately 285 knots.
This has been a flight of 6s. Young's 6th flight, Columbia's 6th flight,
Still in
6 men in the
flight
crew.
control mode. Commander John Young controlling the vehicle. Going into the flare. Gear coming down. Gear down. And locked.
Beautiful. Slow and easy.
And touchdown.
And we have touchdown, unofficial touchdown time for the main gear, 10:07:47:23. Nose gear coming down.
A beautiful landing. Commander John Young at the controls.
And gear contact.
The astronauts will remain on board.
47:41.
The astronauts will remain on board for another 30 or 40 minutes.
STS-9 is home from the
It's a wonderful flying
shuttle mission today.
And a loud salute from one of those chase planes. 2 of the astronauts will be coming back to Houston today, but Kathy, 4 will be remaining in California. Why is that?
Well, Mort, we need to follow up on the life sciences experiments that have proven so interesting through the course of the mission and study those 4 people very carefully as they readapt.
Kathy Sullivan, thank you very much for joining me on the return of STS-9, the flight of the Columbia. I'm Morton Dean, CBS News, Johnson Space Center, Houston.
And the crew in the orbiter now throwing switches in the post-landing positions.
Well, it's time for a cigar.
Nice party. See you soon.
They don't know I have a new Pollenex. No smoke ashtray. Switch it on, smoke disappears. It automatically draws cigars and cigarette smoke through a 6-stage smoke grabber filter. No smoke ashtray. Helps inhale smoke so people don't have to.
We're all alone now.
Good kid, we can play with my ashtray. Nice. The no smoke ashtray from Pollenex.
More than 2,000 years ago, before the age of the Caesars, vinifera grapes were first cultivated in Italy, and through the centuries, they have become the grapes that produce the very finest wines in the world. Today, these classic vinifera grapes give Riunite a unique, soft and light taste. Pure and natural Riunite is the world's best-loved imported wine. After all, our roots go back 2,000 years.
At the U.S. Marine base at Beirut's airport today, there was a fierce exchange of fire with a Shiite Muslim militia group. The Marines won the round, knocking out a sniper nest and bunker with mortars, tank guns, and small missiles. No Marine casualties. More on the Marines' precarious position from David Martin at the Pentagon and John Blackstone in Beirut.
President Reagan confirmed today he is thinking of changing the marching orders for the Marines.
There has been some talk for a long time about a change in assignments there, and that still goes on.
Military sources say there are only 2 places to move the Marines, to amphibious ships offshore or south toward Sidon. Positions to the north are already manned by other peacekeeping forces, and positions to the east would be in rugged terrain which would require more Marines, something no one wants. Moving the Marines offshore is clearly the safest option, but military sources say it looks too much like a retreat and would break ranks with the other members of the multinational force. Moving south could be portrayed as an advance, turning the airport positions over to the Lebanese army as part of the announced mission of helping the government of Lebanon expand its control. The Marines would still be in harm's way, but at least they would be out from under the murderous crossfire between Druze and Lebanese army gunners. The third option is to remain at the airport and use more firepower to defend the Marines, returning hostile fire with the 16-inch guns of the New Jersey and launching preemptive strikes to head off attacks.
These are old options getting a fresh look. The problem, military officers say, is that there are still no good options. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
The Marines are no longer like the other peacekeeping forces in Lebanon. They live in an isolated, ever more heavily defended base. The main activity of the Marine peacekeepers these days is to strengthen their fortifications and to protect themselves.
If I take rounds here, I return fire.
But for the French, Italian, and British peacekeepers, the job is different. They are showing the flag, not from behind heavily guarded walls, but in patrols on the streets of Beirut.
We want to be seen out and about. We encourage our soldiers, for instance, during a patrol, to go and stop and do some shopping if they want to, walk into the streets, talk to people if they want to. The response from the people of Lebanon is tremendous.
The Italian peacekeeping force even operates a hospital for Lebanese civilians. Although it is only a tent, it is well equipped and well used by the Lebanese. The hospital is said to be one reason the Italians are popular in the part of Beirut they patrol. But for most Marines, the streets are out of bounds.
The Marines, myself included, would like to meet with and mix with the Lebanese people. However, for security reasons and the way our mission is being performed right now, we are currently restricted from doing that.
It was not always so. This summer, the Marines built a playground in a neighborhood near their base. Now the swings and merry-go-round are broken, and the Marines are dug in, watching the same neighborhood for those who might attack. John Blackstone, CBS News, Beirut.
Captured U.S. Navy pilot Lieutenant Robert Goodman, Jr. had visitors in Damascus today, representatives of the International Red Cross. They took from him letters Goodman had written to his family. No other details of the visit or word of his condition were reported. Goodman's plane was downed by a Syrian missile over Lebanon Sunday.
There are multivitamins, and there are multivitamins. Vitamins that are flaky, bumpy, crispy, crunchy, and taste oh so good. It's new Kellogg's Product 19. More vitamin nutrition than any other cereal. But you'd never know by tasting, because Product 19 goodness comes from corn, oats, wheat, and rice. Delicious. New Kellogg's Product 19 cereal. Flaky, bumpy, crispy, crunchy. Vitamin.
Christmas warmth is in the giving of gifts that show you care. So give long robes and gowns so pretty, they're ones you'd like to wear. Soft brushed saffron nylon gowns in many styles and colors. Cozy, cuddly, fleecy robes. See these and many others while they're sale priced for giving at a Kmart store near you. And keep moms and aunts and special friends warm the whole year through.
Kmart, we've got it, and we've got it good.
America was born with a dream. A dream that says, in this great land, each and every one of us has the opportunity to build a life that's rich and rewarding. At Prudential Bates Securities, we believe in that dream. We can show you how total financial planning can bring you a richer life for today and tomorrow. Call us. We're Prudential Bates Securities. America, bring us your future.
You may remember our story last September about Max. That's the dog whose bark apparently is really worse than his bite. That is, there's no report Max bites people. But his bark has led to what the Humane Society says may be the first ever jury trial for a dog charged with a non-biting offense. So we unleashed Eric Engberg on that story.
Impaneled to weigh the evidence. Lawyers readied their arguments. The issue before the court: does one Max the dog, part German Shepherd, part something else, bark enough to be a public nuisance? But the central figure in all this, Max, showing a remarkable lack of faith in the courts, broke from the captivity of his yard and fled just as the trial began. He had reason. The ear witness case against him was strong.
You couldn't go to bed at night with the dog barking until somebody took it in.
And the last time Max's case was in a lower court, a judge sentenced him to death. That brought howls from dog lovers all over the country. And when the case was appealed to a higher court, the death sentence was rescinded. But Max clearly wasn't taking any chances. With only a $100 fine at stake today, prosecution witnesses said they had tried everything, including earplugs, to neutralize Max's barking. But Max's friends answered it was all a case of mistaken identity, that other dogs in the neighborhood were to blame. And a pet therapist testified that Max has a soft bark and docile personality. But the jury, after brief deliberation, said guilty and levied a $10 fine against Max's owner, Mike Atkinson, a Norfolk policeman. Max, the one-time death row inmate, got off without a slap on the paw, and he did come home when the trial was safely over. Lawyers say they'll decide later whether to appeal. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Norfolk.
And that's the CBS Evening News for this Thursday. Dan Rather reporting from New York. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Hello. I like this Remington Microscreen rechargeable shaver so much, I bought the company. It shaves as close as a blade, or I'll give you your money back. The first Microscreen is so thin, it shaves incredibly close. The second, even closer. And Remington's American-made. It costs less. Norelco's imported. It costs much more. The Remington Microscreen rechargeable shaver shaves as close as a blade, or your money back.
And the Lady Remington rechargeable, the perfect gift. Shaves without a cord.
Help, Miss Morrow. I'll trade you half a prune Danish for an honest opinion. Is it the dress, or is it my figure?
Honestly, it's your bra.
My bra?
Try this Playtex Cross Your Heart bra. Cross Your Heart crosses over, lifts and separates to help you cross over to a better figure.
Wow!
Of course. I improve your figure and you ruin mine. And introducing Playtex Cross Your Heart's new Beautiful Ones bra. Embroidered, seamless. Special introductory price, $9.99.
There's more for your Christmas at Sears.
This week only.
Just what he needs.
Big savings on men's Permapress Classic Collection separates. Blazers, save $15. Vests, save $8. Pants, save $7. Buy separately to fit you better and save $30 on all three. Save $5 on men's dress shirts, too.
I love it.
You'll wrap up a beautiful Christmas because...
There's more for your life at Sears.
285 knots. And we have touchdown, unofficial touchdown time for the main gear.
I'm Diane Sawyer. Tomorrow, the U.S.-Soviet hockey face-off. And at our 8:30 half hour, more Carly Simon. Wake up to what's happening on the CBS Morning News.
This is CBS.
Good evening. Here are some of the stories we've been covering for you today. Attorneys for accused child killer Janine Jones won a financial victory during a pretrial hearing today.
Austin City Council tonight considering a new way to save money on the South Texas nuclear project. Those stories and a lot more straight ahead.
One-of-a-kind gifts, happy atmosphere. Only at the Armadillo Christmas Bazaar. Open every day 11 to 11 in Cherry Creek Plaza at the southwest corner of Stachny and Manchac.
It's your food and drug and more store. It's a place where you can save.
Hello, Skaggs Alpha Beta has my favorite shavers at special holiday savings. Choose this Remington Microscreen Deluxe rechargeable shaver, just $44.99. Or this cord model, only $24.99, both with free travel case at Skaggs Alpha Beta. They shave as close to the blade, or I'll give you your money back.
More of a store.
A joint action agency with the city's other publicly owned partner in the nuke, San Antonio. The power agency is a kind of third party designated to handle construction funds. It could even issue revenue bonds without voter approval to come up with more money to pay the bills at the nuke. It also has some tax advantages that could actually lower ratepayers' bills in the short run. But it is a relatively new idea, one that sparked heated debate at council chambers this afternoon. One question, why look at something that will only pour more money into a plant Austin's citizens want out of?
And one of those alternatives is to turn to the courts and ask for injunctive relief on our progress payments. We have sued over a faulty product. Companies around the world sue each other over faulty products, and they stop payment when they do it.
I think we have some serious problems. I wish it was as simple as you make it appear by this faulty products stuff. That just doesn't fly.
In the end, council members left both options open. The city staff will look into seeking relief in the courts from the city's STMP payments. In addition, the council will meet the day after Christmas to vote on whether to form the Joint Action Agency. The group faces a deadline. If the agency is not formed by the end of the year, it will take voter approval to form one in the future. Karen Sunleitner, 24 Action News.
The dispute over the nuclear plant wasn't the only hot issue at City Hall today. The City Council also tackled the controversial Austin Parade Ordinance. Controversial because a judge called the parade ordinance a violation of the U.S. Constitution. Today's developments and some background on the story from Jeff Wool.
When members of the Black Citizens Task Force and the Ku Klux Klan held their separate marches earlier this year, they stirred up more than just hot emotions. To keep order at the parades, City Hall spent more than $70,000. The main reason why the City Council adopted a new parade ordinance soon after, restricting the number of parades these and other groups can hold each year. But the two groups didn't agree with the new ordinance, and after banding together, they took City Hall to court, charging that the ordinance abridged their First Amendment rights. Federal District Judge James Nowlin agreed, and on November 23rd, a temporary injunction was issued to keep the city from enforcing its controversial law. Today, the City Council acted to keep some sort of parade regulation intact by voting to delete the heart of the new ordinance. The council dropped the one parade per group per year section and gave the city manager more power in determining the date, time, and place of a parade being applied for. City Council members feel today's action will prevent any further court appearances on the matter.
My understanding from our attorneys is that both sides, the Klan and the Black Citizens Task Force, were pretty much in agreement, except with that provision of the one parade per year per organization. And of course, since that's been struck down by the federal courts, I don't see why there would be any reason for them to go back to court.
Meanwhile, members of the Klan say in light of the new ordinance, they will try to organize another parade here around the 1st of next year. Jeff Wool, 24 Action News.
Was it accident or did someone do it intentionally? That's the question fire experts are trying to answer tonight. Whatever happened, one thing is clear. For 2 days in a row, fire damaged the home of a South Austin woman. Jim McNabb has more.
Fire trucks first rolled up to 1109 Alameda around 1:30 yesterday afternoon. Flames traced to a hot water heater charred the rear of the house and sent smoke through the rooms. But owner Ethel Davis was planning repairs. Luckily, she spent the night elsewhere because just after 5:30 this morning, a passing cab driver called the fire department again. This time, the fire was much farther along when firefighters arrived, flames roaring from the roof of the 67-year-old frame structure. 5 firefighting units and 3 investigators were dispatched to the scene. This time, Ethel Davis' home for 37 years was a total loss.
I took 2 skirts, 2 blouses, and the suit of clothes I had on.
That's what I got out with. All my mementos from my travels were there, and all family pictures and heirlooms, memories are gone.
Late this morning, firefighters were still on the scene digging through the debris in the rear portion of the house, looking for the cause of this blaze. They say it could have been an old refrigerator that was plugged into an outlet with several other things. And then again, it could have been something else.
The cause of the blaze is still under investigation, but 71-year-old owner Ethel Davis, retired Zilker Elementary School and City of Austin librarian, is at a loss to say why anyone would want to burn her out.
I can't imagine anyone being that vindictive toward me. I generally have good friends and loyal friends, but I guess it's possible.
Davis says she intends to rebuild on the site. This time she'll build a duplex, and this time she says something less flammable. Jim McNabb, 24 Action News.
In nearby Georgetown today, a victory for an accused murderer. A state district court judge is allowing defense attorneys for Janine Jones-Turk to have $10,000 to hire expert witnesses. Janine Jones-Turk, a licensed vocational nurse, is accused of giving an 18-month-old Kerrville girl a lethal injection of a drug in September of 1982. The trial has been transferred here to the Williamson County Courthouse on a change of venue. And during today's pretrial hearing, Turk's attorneys said they needed testimony from expert witnesses who often charge as much as $1,200 a day to appear in court. Until today, the court-appointed attorneys had been given only $500 for the case. But State District Court Judge John Carter today ordered that all of the money set aside in Kerrville for the trials of 7 other cases against Turk be made available to the defense in this case. And that will give attorney Jim Brookshire some $10,000 to hire expert witnesses. Brookshire has also asked the court to sequester the jury during the trial.
You know, you've got wide media coverage. You've got television stations here. You've got the radio stations. You've got the newspaper. And I think that if people are allowed to go home, they may want not to do it, but that means them voluntarily not watching television, not listening to radio, not reading the newspaper. Really, you're asking them to simply isolate themselves from everything around them, and you can't do it.
Judge Carter says that he will rule on that motion when the trial begins January 16th. Margie?
If you're a school teacher and you expected a raise soon, we have some possible bad news. It's looking even more unlikely now that there will be a special session of the Texas legislature to grant teachers pay raises. Today, Lieutenant Governor Bill Hobby told reporters a special session will not likely take place after all. Insiders say if that doesn't happen, it will be just another campaign promise not kept on the part of Governor Mark White. Our Capitol reporter Carol Nealand has more.
The real problem when Mark White was running for governor, he promised to raise teachers' pay and make utility companies more responsive to consumers than investors.
And until we get it right on Main Street, it doesn't matter what happens on Wall Street.
Since being elected, he's replaced the entire Public Utility Commission with his own people. But reports this week indicate the PUC is considering an even bigger rate hike for Dallas Power and Light Company than the company might have settled for. Also, the PUC staff is suggesting Southwestern Bell be given a bigger return on its investment than surrounding states would give it. And consumer advocates aren't happy with White's PUC.
I feel extremely disappointed, particularly because unless the commission changes the whole nature of the process of the way rate cases are handled, there's not going to be any relief for consumers.
But Governor White says it's too early to tell about the PUC. As for his promise to raise teachers' pay, he still plans to have an education special session this summer.
But we cannot do that until as we've agreed, until the report is returned from the Select Committee, and until we can get the leadership in the House and the Senate to agree that they're ready to move forward. I'm ready.
On that score, White still has the support of teachers' groups, but they're getting nervous.
Well, I think it puts more pressure on Governor White to try to put together the kind of funding package that will make it possible to happen, and we think that he's up to the challenge.
If there is no pay raise and no increase in educational spending, people are going to tend to look at him because he was the man that made the campaign promise. However, I think it'd be premature to make judgments on that because he may yet call that session.
If the governor fails to deliver on these campaign promises, there's a whole gang of Democratic politicians ready to take him on in the next governor's race. Among those watching White closely are Comptroller Bob Bullock, Agriculture Commissioner Jim Hightower, Attorney General Jim Maddox, and Railroad Commissioner Buddy Temple. Carol Nealand, 24 Action News.
Medical experts say it may be a fight for life for a set of Austin twins. Their story coming up on Health Watch next on the Evening Report.
Looking for gifts that never fail? Then come to Gelman's Stocking Stuffer sale for Lee Jeans. Gelman's means jeans with slim fit boot cut Lee jeans for guys just $15.99. Lee riders will look great under the tree and on ladies in junior sizes just $18.99. Wrap up Lee jeans for girls 7 to 14 just $16.99 and boy sizes 8 to 14 only $15.99. Make this Christmas merry with Lee jeans from Gelman's in 100% cotton rinse denim. Gelman's at 6th and Brazos in downtown Austin and stores at downtown Taylor, Georgetown, and Lockhart.
Take it from a guy who's been around and knows who has the best prices in town, Frisco Electronics.
For the next 3 days, an RCA or Zenith 19-inch color TV now $288. This JVC 14-day VCR with wireless remote and special effects now $599. A lit and go anywhere microwave $168, and the Atari 5200 Super Game $99.99 with purchase of 3 cartridges.
Buy now and there's no payment till March '84 at Frisco.
Frisco Electronics. We beat any price.
For the merriest Christmas gifts at really low prices, no one puts it together like Target. Save on this Commodore 64 computer with typewriter-style keyboard, basic programming language, and 64K memory. Target sale priced at a low $189.99. All records and cassettes normally $7.99 to $8.79, on sale for $5.79 each. And this Kodak Disc 6000 camera is sale priced at just $54.99. This Christmas, shop and save at Target.
This week on the 24th Saturday movie at 11, The Sun Also Rises, starring Tyrone Power, Ava Gardner, and Errol Flynn.
You crazy Americans, please go! I beg your pardon, I am not an American.
Why don't you get married, you two?
We want to lead our own lives.
Yes, we have our careers.
The Sun Also Rises, this week on the 24th Saturday movie at 11.
What causes alcoholism? A new study by University of Texas professor says psychological dependency on alcohol develops in 1 of every 12 people who drink. And that, he says, is the essence of alcoholism. Dr. Edgar Nace, a psychiatrist at the UT Medical Branch in Galveston, says psychological dependency lingers long after you quit drinking. And that dependency continues to influence your thinking and behavior during the early years of recovery. Dr. Nace said that common behavioral changes include morning drinking, binge drinking, and brief amnesia or blackouts. The study was made public today. Margie?
It's always exciting when parents can bring their newborn baby home for the first time. But one family has been waiting for 3 months now to take their twins home from Austin's Seton Hospital. Health Watch reporter Liz McDaniel says even though the twins have come a long way, they still need some help.
A premature baby's fight for life is always special, but for these 2 kiddos from Taft, near Corpus Christi, it's extra special. Peter and Paul Villarreal were born in August, 2.5 months premature. But with their father, Alfonso, laid off, no hospital would take the twins. They were rejected by hospitals in Corpus Christi, San Antonio, Galveston, Houston, and the Valley. Then doctors tried Austin, and the sisters at Seton Medical Center agreed to take them in free of charge. 3 months and $200,000 later, the boys have gotten over most of their problems, except one. In order to go home, Peter needs an apnea monitor until he's 6 months old. That's a monitor that hooks up to the baby and gives off an alarm if he stops breathing, and that's already happened once.
Peter, when he went home the first time, had a spell in which he stopped breathing. The dad had to give mouth-to-mouth respiration. But when he goes home the second time, there's a chance that that might happen again, and he might not do as well.
It costs $250 a month to rent the monitor. And since Peter and Paul's parents can't even afford to stay in Austin to be with the babies, they sure can't afford the monitor, even though Peter only needs it for 3 months. So a trust fund has been set up to raise money for Peter at the First National Bank of Taft, Post Office Box 478, Taft, Texas, 78390. Now, both Peter and Paul are healthy and ready to go home right now. But unless they get some money for an apnea monitor, it could be another 3 months before they get to go home to be with their mom and dad. Liz McDaniel, 24 Action News.
Tell you, Margie, if you didn't know it was December, it could have been a spring day in Austin. What a wonderful day to be outside and enjoy the pleasures of our city. Tim Ross will tell us how long it'll last next on the Evening Report.
Hi, Forrest Tucker for WeBird Furniture. Do you find that your dollar buys just half as much as it used to? Weberg's free credit offer will give you the biggest savings of the year. No interest or finance charges for a full year on anything you buy, and you'll still get Weberg's guaranteed low prices. And that makes your money worth this much during the large economy-sized store's amazing free credit offer. Weberg's, where your dollar is still worth $1, maybe a little bit more.
The Walmart way for the holidays means you never have to wait for a sale to save. This Proctor Silex 10-cup drip coffee maker is only $17.43 every day. Plus, receive a $3 rebate from Proctor Silex. And this toaster oven broiler is just $41.87 with a $5 rebate from Proctor Silex. Both make great gifts, especially at these everyday low prices. Save time, save money. Save the Walmart way every day.
Savings with low prices every day. That's the Walmart way. Walmart way.
The secret's out, and the stampede started to Longhorn Boots, the national boot store of Texas. And the secret is Longhorn has thousands of boots on sale just in time for Christmas. Every boot in the store is marked down with discounts up to 50%. Longhorn has a great selection of all-weather boots for just $59. Plus, you'll find the finest name brands on the market sale price, like Tony Lama, Justin, Nakona, and Sanders. And Longhorn is pleased to announce the winner of the Honda 3-wheeler. He's Robert Brown from Cedar Park. Yes, sir, for the best selection and price, come to Longhorn Boots at North Lamar and Katy.
This Christmas, someone you love may be wishing on a star. Make that wish come true with diamond jewelry from J.B. Robinson Jewelers. Save 25% on Robinson's spectacular collection of diamond stud earrings and diamond solitaire pendants. Or choose a fashionable, affordable Pulsar quartz watch. The elegance of a fine quartz watch, but not the price. Backed by Robinson's 2-year Pulsar guarantee. And you have Robinson Jewelers' unconditional 6-week money-back guarantee. See J.B. Robinson Jewelers for a Christmas gift to last a lifetime.
Tim says I should remind you that he got the forecast right today.
You're not supposed to say it that way.
Oh, sorry.
We said 36 last night, predicted a 722 today. It's not often that we hit it right on the money. So
that's true.
A little pat on the back for myself because no one probably will pat me besides myself. We hope that you enjoyed the day. Perfectly predicted, we must say. So if you weren't happy with it, at least we told you what it was going to be. Zippity-doo-dah is what I felt in my heart today. It's such a wonderful day. Noticed a lot of people calling in sick, including our news director, Russ Stockton. I thought it was a little odd, though, that as I drive into work and see his boat missing from in front of his house along with his pick-em-up truck, that he should be sick and his boat's gone. It's just funny how those things work, but we wish Russ happy fishing on his ill day. We hope that you had a good day. Fair skies, a temp of 66. Humidity at 61%. That's much higher than in days past, and that'll bring some clouds in late tonight and early tomorrow morning. Back to a sunshiny turn in the afternoon hours. South breeze blowing at 4. Barometer is holding steady right now. No big change in the area lake levels. We'll let you read those, see what you think. Lake Travis water temp is down to 63 degrees. Of course, no rainfall in the last 24-hour period. The official overnight low last night, as we told you earlier, was 36 degrees. The high today was back up to about 72, and as Margie reminded you, as I reminded her, it was perfectly what we had predicted. For a change, it would seem. Pollen count from Austin Allergy Associates. For those wondering about cedar, according to the folks down that way, they say cedar is not yet a problem, but another couple of freezes and we'll begin having some cedar in the atmosphere. No doubt that'll be a problem for your schnozola system. Please check with your favorite allergist to see what you can do to counteract the cedar that will be coming. Freeze map for tonight. A big shunt of warm air from the south. The Gulf regions is keeping the south a little bit warmer tonight. Not a freeze. We don't expect that in the Austin area, but still much of the nation at or below 32 degrees tonight. Here's satellite photo taken late in the day. When you have a late in the day type shot, there is not much reflection from the clouds, so we don't have much today. You might notice if you squint real hard, there is a layer of cloudiness over northern parts of the country, virtually from California all the way to Florida. The south is sunny. What a gorgeous day. And up under the clouds, there were some snow showers, not more than 2 inches at any one place. Places like Sheridan, Wyoming, they got checked in with 2 inches of snow. Pellston, Michigan, 2 inches of snow. And even Syracuse, New York, way back here out of the picture, was about 2 inches of snow today. Devils Lake, North Dakota, the top temp today, 4 degrees below zero. The top temp in Texas, at least as far as we found so far, was 80 degrees down in Brownsville today. There's cold front, and boy, you look at one up out of the areas of Canada this time of year and you think, we're going to get it. But this cold front will tend to slide off to the east the next couple of days. The next cold front, which will really affect us, probably won't get here until Tuesday. It'll be one coming in from the Pacific, and it'll just kind of scrunch this one off to the east, and we won't get the real cold air all the way down in Texas. So plan on plenty of sunshine in the afternoon hours right through the weekend. with some very, very warm temperatures. Probably some nice get out and work in the yard type weather, or you can sit under a tree and take a nap if you want to. Goofing or golfing, whatever you have planned. Today the snow showers were under the clouds, just kind of widely scattered with some rain showers across the north. No big things to talk about, to put it simply. Area forecast for the Austin area and for all the great surrounding communities. More sunshine tomorrow. We're going to get into a trend of overnight cloudiness, morning clouds, and followed by sunny afternoons the next couple of days. Low tonight, not bad in Austin, down to 50. The high tomorrow back to 75. And with warmer temperatures, you might expect that their south breeze will be blowing at 10 to 20 miles per hour. The 5-day forecast for the next 5 days of your life. Partly cloudy skies, next best chance of rains on Tuesday as that cold front comes in from the west. Temperatures will remain very warm until then, or at least very warm for this time of year. An average high this time of year is about 64, so we're in pretty good shape if you like the great outdoors.
Spring may be back.
It has sprung.
Thanks, Tim.
Hugh Lewis is next with the sports, and later a time capsule that will give the next century a look at how we lived our lives.
It's not enough to be fast. Today it's got to be good.
At Back in a Flash 1-hour photo finishers, we're not just fast, we're the best. The best for convenient locations and professional results on Kodak paper. And price, not the same as everybody else. In some cases, less. And that's why there's nobody better than Back in a Flash, or faster.
We keep your pictures looking good, and you get your pictures back in a flash.
This is the moment when you need the quick response and smooth acceleration that comes from Exxon unleaded regular gasoline. It has higher octane than most other unleaded regulars to help free your engine from knocking and pinging. And for even more octane, try Exxon Extra Unleaded. When the moment demands performance, get Exxon. Quality you can count on.
Here in the Southwest, energy usage concerns everyone. That's why more folks are turning to natural gas, an old-fashioned value with new technology. It's clean, efficient, and economical.
We're the source you can depend on, so remember us by name. We're Southern Union Gas, and we're the keeper of the flame.
He loves me. He loves me not. He loves me. He loves me not. He loves me. He loves me not. He loves me.
I have created the fragrance that makes a woman beautiful.
Oscar de la Renta Parfum, available at Scarborough's.
So does our volleyball team get a chance to show off this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
Looks like we're going to have a lot of fun.
We're going to have a lot of exciting action in town this weekend. If you like women's volleyball, Gregory Gym is the place to be. 4 of the best college volleyball teams in the country will be in Austin this weekend for the NCAA South Regional Tournament. The Texas Longhorns will try to win that tournament to qualify for the Final Four, but they may have to beat the defending champions from Hawaii to do it. The Hawaii Rainbow Wahinis won the national championship last year after posting a 33-1 season record. 10 letter winners from that championship team are playing this year, including all 6 starters. In that group are 2 All-Americans, Deetra Collins and Corey Pulaski. This year, Hawaii is ranked #1 in the nation with a record of 30 wins and only 2 losses. Today, before their workouts at Gregory Gym, head coach Dave Shoji talked to me about this year's team compared to last year's.
Well, from a coaching standpoint, it's been very easy because we've got so many returning players. They've been under me for 4 years, so the practices go easy. They know what's expected of them. The hard part's going to come now because we are defending national champions, and I think everybody's looking to us. Everybody expects us to get there again, and it's not that easy, believe me. And so I think our team's going to feel a little pressure this weekend.
Well, Texas coach Mick Haley will have his team applying some of that pressure, even though he and Coach Shoji have known each other for 16 years. The Lady Longhorns of Texas hope to meet Hawaii in Sunday's finals, but first, Texas will have to get past 6th-ranked Kentucky on Saturday, while Hawaii will have to deal with 15th-ranked Tennessee. The Lady Longhorns know that Kentucky will be a tough opponent, especially since they want to return home to Louisville to play in the NCAA finals. Kentucky has a 42-6 season record so far. All 4 teams in the South Regional Tournament are ranked, so this is probably the toughest regional in the country.
Oh, without a doubt. You have number 1, number 5, number 10, number 12 or 13. And all 4 teams have been ranked in the top 10 this year. All have All-American candidates playing for them. This is a great lineup for spectators. I'm not sure it's great for coaches, but it's sure great for spectators.
I'm sure it is. 3 big stories from the baseball world tonight. The Texas Rangers traded catcher Jim Sundberg to the Milwaukee Brewers for catcher Ned Yost and a minor league pitcher named Dan Scarpetta. The 32-year-old Sundberg is a 6-time Gold Glove Award winner. Also at the winter baseball meetings today, Dr. Robert Bobby Brown was named president of the American League. Brown will replace Lee McPhail, who just retired. And Baseball Commissioner Bowie Kuhn will remain in his post until March 1st to give search committee more time to find his successor. Well, this is still the football season, especially in the eyes of the Texas Longhorns, who are gearing up for their battle with Georgia in the Cotton Bowl. Today, the Longhorns were allowed to go through unsupervised workouts down at Memorial Stadium. These workouts basically is the time when the athletes can work on their running and their conditioning, but they do relax a little bit with a game of touch football. The Longhorns will begin formal workouts next week, and according to All-American defensive back Mossy Cade, it will be just like starting all over again.
It's like a first game again when playing the Cotton Bowl, so everybody's pretty relaxed and getting ready for the game.
I know you guys have had a chance to look at Georgia on film. What do you think about them?
Oh, they got a pretty good balanced attack. They can throw the ball, they can run the ball. They have a great defense also. So our main intention is to go up there and try to, do the techniques right. Whoever the strongest in the fourth quarter going to win the game.
It sounds like pretty good logic to me. Let's hope that the Longhorns are strongest in the fourth quarter.
That's what the Dallas Cowboys live by.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
A history of the way we live. That story and more coming up.
Gold's, unique in Central Texas and a family tradition for 72 years, celebrates their anniversary with Famous Maker boots on sale for $99. Choose from Tony Lama, Justin, Dan Post, Larry Mahan, and more, all in fine leathers from calfskin to bullhide. Whether you're planning a day on the range or a night on the town, Gold's has hundreds of boots for only $99 this week. Gold's anniversary sale, just a conversation away in downtown Georgetown.
If you're a qualified property owner, Sun Homes of Texas can build you a home today for $376.69 a month. And listen carefully, there's no down payment and no closing cost to qualified property owners. You can buy this 3-bedroom home today for less than you pay for rent, just $380.74 per month. Sun Homes of Texas has 12 floor plans to choose from and all have payments under $445 a month, 100% complete and guaranteed. If you're buying property or own it outright, call or go by Sun Homes of Texas on I-35 North at the 248 exit.
Hi, friend, this is Charlie Pride. Keep your radio dial on Country AM, 1300 KVAC. I want to tell you they've got it all.
Like the finest radio news team in Central Texas, award-winning on-the-hour newscast featuring experienced professional reporters, a Capitol correspondent, staff meteorologist, Associated Press information, and the ABC Information Network with radio's favorite journalist.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey.
KVAC 1300. They've got it all.
I've got someone on my Christmas list who's very special and very particular about the kind of clothes he wears. I found the perfect gift at Mervyn's. Right now, they have a sale on beautiful V-neck sweaters in handsome colors for just $13.99. That's $4 off. Mervyn's own sportsman knit shirts are $5 off. They're just $9.99. The prices were so low, I bought one of each, one in his favorite color and one in mine. From Mervyn's, your Christmas value store. And finally this evening, if your name is listed in the December '82 Austin phone book, it's going down in history, literally.
The seals on the outer shell of the Centennial Time Capsule read, the University of Texas and City of Austin. And the hundreds of items stored inside tell the story of life in Austin, 1983. It's been almost 3 months since the 6-foot cylinder was unveiled at dedication ceremonies for Centennial Park, Austin's gift to the university on its 100th birthday. And even though a list of what would go inside was finished in September, the job of gathering all the memorabilia was not. But today, all systems were go for burying the capsule in the park, and Chamber of Commerce officials who labored on the project were there to witness the historic moment. Pat Harris, chairman of the Time Capsule Committee, filled the capsule with more than 200 items last week. It was an experience she says she'll never forget.
Well, it's real exciting because as you're putting them in, you're thinking what it's going to be like when they take them out.
A crane lowered the capsule into a concrete vault near the southeast entrance to the park. Future generations will know more about our schools, businesses, city government, and parks because of things like PTA programs, annual reports, and pictures of our hike and bike trails that were placed inside the capsule. And as proof of the good life we enjoyed, they'll find a Capital 10,000 t-shirt and Coca-Cola can. And if your name is in the 1982 Austin phone book, you'll have made your mark in history. Most of us probably won't be around to see the looks on the faces of the people who opened the time capsule in the year 2083. But once they see what's inside, there should be no doubt in their minds that we were a group of intelligent, fun-loving, and dedicated people. Gail Phillips, 24 Action News.
Not a bad way to be remembered. That's the news. Good night.
Capital City Savings pays high interest on insured accounts.
You can count on it.
Capital City Savings, where actions speak louder than words.
Order a party from your H-E-B Deli for holiday entertaining at home and at work. Choose from party trays filled with tasty combinations of vegetables, meats, and cheeses, or select from trays filled with fresh shrimp, tamales, hot hors d'oeuvres, or finger sandwiches. Let the H-E-B people put it all together, and you'll be a
Baked with pride. Earth Grains, the promise of bread at its best. Natural goodness in over 30 varieties, all rich in texture, true to the grain in taste, and bursting with fresh baked aroma.
Earth Grains, the promise of bread at its best.
The tools of the builder's trade are not as simple as they used to be. But the basics of home building are. Quality and craftsmanship are still the prime ingredient. At Doyle Wilson Homes, we understand these basics, and it shows. Visit a Doyle Wilson model neighborhood and see the hometown atmosphere of our Heritage Series. And experience the elegance of the Governor's Collection. It's simple, really. Solid craftsmanship means quality homes, and that's the way we build them. Doyle Wilson Homes in select neighborhoods.
KTVB TV 36 in Austin.
Another picture-perfect landing for the Space Shuttle Columbia today at Edwards Air Force Base. Janine Jones goes to court for a pretrial hearing on her murder charge, and News 36 food critic goes in search of the perfect hamburger. Next on News 36 Tonight.
News 36 Tonight with Nelson Duffel, Lizette Martinez, Kathy Turner, and Vic Jacobs.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for News 36 Tonight. The Space Shuttle Columbia glided to a smooth landing at Edwards Air Force Base in California earlier tonight.
The touchdown came after an 8-hour delay in orbit. The Columbia brought back 6 men, a $1 billion space lab, and a payload of scientific findings from 10 days of research. The following is a tape-recorded live report of the touchdown.
Still in manual flight control mode. Commander John Young controlling the vehicle. Going into the flare.
It's flowing like a graceful rock at this point.
Gear down and locked.
Touchdown.
And we have touchdown, unofficial touchdown time for the main gear, 10:07:47:23. Nose gear coming down.
First time Young made a landing in the Space Shuttle Columbia, the chase planes reported when they saw the dust kick up that he had touchdown. He thought that was the smoothest landing he'd ever made, and then he did land about a second later. Turns out it was just kicking up dust at the time.
DS9 is home from the longest shuttle mission to date.
10 days altogether for the Space Shuttle Columbia as it rolls to a stop out there in that dry desert lake bed, the home of the right stuff.
Now, the Columbia was to have returned to Earth this morning, but a double computer failure 5 hours before the original landing time forced controllers in Houston to wave off the astronauts twice. The 10-day, 4.3 million-mile mission was the longest yet for a shuttle. President Reagan today reacted in a low-key way to the Soviet Union's departure from the strategic arms reduction talks in Geneva. The president told reporters that he does not interpret the Soviet departure as a walkout, and he said that he's hopeful they will return. Mr. Reagan made his remarks as he left the White House this afternoon for a speech in Indianapolis.
Regular adjournment that was scheduled to take place, and the Soviet Union
in departing, simply said that they were not prepared at this time to set a date for resumption of meetings. They're pretty careful about their choice of words, and all they said in this one was that they were not prepared at this time to set a date for when they would come back.
And you're convinced they will?
I am very hopeful they will. I think this is more encouraging than a walkout and simply saying they won't be back.
The president also said that Secretary of State Shultz is prepared to meet Soviet Foreign Minister Gromyko in Stockholm, which could be a step in setting up an eventual summit meeting between Mr. Reagan and Soviet leader Andropov. President Reagan noted, however, that the Soviets have not indicated that they want such a meeting.
As leftist gunners and U.S. Marines traded fire at Beirut airport today, there appeared to be some progress towards removing the PLO from Lebanon's second city, Tripoli. After a battle between pro- and anti-Arafat factions inside the PLO, a spokesman for Yasser Arafat announced a deal had been made for French and Greek warships to carry out the evacuation of him and his supporters. A spokesman said Italy has also been asked to participate, but that no formal word had been received. The PLO forces continued packing up in preparation for the exodus, which is scheduled to take place within 13 days. But sources in Athens said it was possible the evacuation might begin Friday.
Investigators say a San Antonio woman could be responsible for the death of as many as 20 babies in Central Texas. Today, her lawyers went to court to ask a judge for thousands of dollars to pay witnesses to testify in her behalf. Jim Moore was there and has the latest on the mystery surrounding Janine Jones.
Janine Jones-Turk is going on trial for the death of 15-month-old Chelsea Ann McClellan, but the licensed vocational nurse has a cloud of other suspicions following her. 12 babies died at a San Antonio hospital while she was a staff nurse. The same thing happened to 8 more babies when she went to work for a private physician in the hill country town of Kerrville. Investigators believe Jones injected the infants with this powerful muscle-relaxing drug, causing cardiac arrest. Prosecutors have little evidence and will rely heavily on a recently discovered test that can show the presence of the drug after death.
We have perfected the test to the extent that it is capable of identifying other drugs that were not capable of being identified before.
To my knowledge and to all my reading, this test has never been done on human tissue, except in this particular case.
To convict Jones, the body of a child may have to be exhumed for toxicology tests. At her pretrial hearing today, the state agreed to pay $1,250 a day for expert witnesses to testify for Jones. She is being held in the Williamson County Jail after a bondsman said he could not guarantee her appearance at the trial. The Jones trial and the trial of alleged mass murderer Henry Lee Lucas will both be held in January. And while city officials in Georgetown are not excited about the notoriety, they are pleased about what all the attention could do for their local economy. They're even considering treating visitors to a new parking lot. Jim Moore for News 36, Georgetown.
Still to come, Texas teachers are waiting on the governor.
And computer competency is causing some problems for the school district.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Well, Alma Sue, it's hard to keep your carpets white without the right vacuum. That's why we're having a holiday sale on our entire stock of vacuums. Buy any Royal Upright and get a free hand vacuum worth $84.95.
This Hoover here is only $69.95 and it was $99.95.
Well, it's important to keep your carpets clean this time of the year since you'll never know who will show up.
I appreciate that.
Shop at Austin Vacuum, Austin's friendliest stores.
You seem to be all wrapped up in your problems.
Yes, my Christmas list is really long. I need a 14-carat solution.
Have I got the answer for you? The Christmas Shoppers Arts and Crafts Show is a real gem. This weekend in Palmer Auditorium, you'll find the largest selection of fine arts, crafts, toys, clothing, decorations, even jewelry.
Are you sure this is a gem of a show?
Would a mug like this lie?
The Christmas Shoppers Arts and Crafts Show, Saturday and Sunday from 11 till 6.
Calvin, the essence of man, commanding the senses, a skillful blend of rare woods, rich spices, velvety mosses, hypnotic. Now, with any purchase from the Calvin collection, this sport bag and travel size Calvin cologne is yours for $8.50. Calvin, for those who value the ultimate, from Foley's.
reason is, Lamb's uses only the freshest ingredients to make our candy the best tasting. Lamb's is family-owned and operated, and has been making candy in Austin since 1885. Now we sell candy all over the world. There are 5 locations in Austin. Lamb's, you can taste the difference.
Lamb's Candy Store.
Several state officials, including Lieutenant Governor Bill Hobby, are predicting bad news for Texas teachers. They say the proposed teachers' pay hike probably won't be considered until the 1985 legislative session. But not everyone is as pessimistic as Rhonda Pennington tells us tonight. Several teachers' organizations, as well as Governor White, are hoping that the issue can be decided in a special session next year.
Governor White is waiting for a report from his Select Committee on Education, which will hopefully endorse his promised 24% teachers' pay raise. The report probably won't be completed until the middle of next year. And once it is complete, the governor has said he will call a special session. But even more crucial than that is whether the legislature will support a tax increase to finance the pay hike. With an election year coming up, some lawmakers will likely balk at that idea, as they did last spring. In the meantime, teachers like Sharon Cartledge are waiting and hoping. Cartledge has been teaching for 17 years. She says she's counting on the governor to come through for teachers.
I hope that he's going to call the special session like he said he would. I voted for him, so I do hope he will.
Cartledge isn't the only one. Texas State Teachers Association Executive Director Jim Butler.
It's a promise that's been made to the public and to teachers that there's going to be help for the public schools. It was made in '82 during the campaign, and we think it's time to deliver on that promise.
So teachers are apparently holding on to their optimism, but the pay raise question is virtually in the hands of legislators, and Governor White is counting on them to make his campaign promise come true. Rhonda Pennington, News 36, tonight.
If you saw the movie War Games about a teenage computer whiz, you may have wondered if any of it could actually happen in real life. Well, it could, at least on a smaller scale, and it did at an Austin high school. Tonight, Brooke Robbins explains how 4 students broke into the school district's computer and got caught.
This movie is not a true story. War Games is about a teenager who almost triggered a nuclear war while playing with his home computer. This probably would never happen, but the idea is not totally without reality. Here in Austin, 3 Lanier students and 1 Anderson High School student have been suspended for getting into some computer programs kept by the district. No damage was done since they were only programs used for teaching computer classes. But tonight, we asked AISD Programming Supervisor Mike Reed if other administrative files could be broken into.
We take tremendous precautions at the school district for our sensitive data that exists on the administrative computer systems.
Reed showed me how the students were able to get into the system and create new passwords. He says it's happened before. This time, the punishment was just stricter.
You always have a student that's challenged by the thrill of being able to crack security codes.
Because of this incident, officials in the school district plan to watch the system a little more closely. Brooke Robbins, News 36 Tonight.
With Christmas just around the corner, the post office is becoming a very busy place. Post office officials used a small ceremony this evening to encourage people to mail early this Christmas. A post office spokesperson says mail volume is running 18% higher this year than last. The state's First Lady, Linda Gale White, joined the ceremony by mailing just a few of the 10,000 cards and letters that she'll be sending out. Several post office employees also participated.
Things are looking a little brighter tonight for patients at St. David's Hospital, thanks to hundreds of Christmas lights. Hospital employees and patients gathered at St. David's Park for the annual ceremony. But before the lights were turned on, the crowd heard some Christmas carols from the Notables, a local singing group. Then the switch was thrown, lighting up not only the 15-foot Christmas tree, but several of the trees in the park as well. Hospital officials refer to the ceremony as the Miracle on 32nd Street. Coming up next, weather with Kathy Turner.
And a little later on, dining out with Rob Bailey.
The Capital Diamond Shop is the leader in Central Texas of fine jewelry and quality diamonds at prices you can afford. We have been for years. I'm Harris Burrow, here to invite you to shop with us for your jewelry needs. We are home-owned and we do our repair work in our own shop. Come visit us. I'm sure you will be happy that you did. 2 stores to serve you. Remember our motto, drive a little, save a lot.
Hello, I'm Fred McNair. You'll love the dickens out of our Magic Chef store-wide appliance sale. We have quality Magic Chef appliances now at special holiday savings. For example, get this Magic Chef dishwasher, microwave oven, gas or electric range, or this refrigerator. Your choice, only $3.99. So don't be a Scrooge. Hurry into the Magic Chef sale at McNair's.
The Money Saver. Money Saver. That's exactly what we do. You save money for you.
Dillard's for Christmas. Delight the active woman in your life with a gift of stylish sweatshirts and pants from the Beverly Hills Polo Club collection. Now at Dillard's, an array of luscious colors in cotton blend for extra comfort. Surprise her this Christmas with styles from the exclusive Beverly Hills Polo Club Sweat Group. Sensational. Dillard's, naturally.
Okay, we're taking a poll. How cold would you like it to get tonight? How about you?
I like it to get real cold.
Real cold?
Yeah,
I'd like it to
32.
get about like last night, 32. We got down to 29 last night?
No, 29 the night before. Last night was 36. I'd like it to hit about 43 because that's what I'm forecasting.
43?
And I'd like to be right.
Okay, we'll go for that.
Okay, yeah. Now, this afternoon, we reached 72 for our afternoon high. Absolutely gorgeous. The people in the north must be looking at our national board and just hating us because it is so extremely cold. We have a lot of interesting national weather. Last night, again, we dropped to 36 degrees, and the sunset was gorgeous if you happen to get out there around 5:30 this evening. We'll rise again tomorrow morning at 7:16. Right now, we're down 11 degrees from our afternoon high. We're at 61. We still have fair sky conditions. Humidity is 84%. We have a rising barometer from 30.07, and winds are out of the south at 8 miles an hour, starting to pump up a little of that Gulf moisture. Travis is down 88/100ths of a foot, and Buchanan and Canyon basically holding steady. Now again in the south, mostly fair conditions, and this is due to high pressure. High pressure is now to our east, and this is bringing in the warm, moist air up over the Gulf. High pressure off to our west will continue to keep conditions very nice over the next couple of days. Now we're going to start talking about some pretty severe weather. There's been a cold front that's dropped out of Canada, dropped temperatures below zero, 14 below, 10 below, some areas where it's now 20 below zero in Minnesota. Wind chill index is 25 below zero in Nebraska as the winds are 40 miles an hour, and we're also seeing snow squalls ahead of this system. This system right now, intensely falling snow in Chicago, is moving through the Indiana and the Ohio Valley area tonight, and we can expect to see a lot of atmospheric condition due to that system, and especially on our satellite photo tonight. We're looking at an infrared picture. Infrared basically means that it is reading temperatures. We don't have the aid of the sun, obviously, at night, so we're looking at temperatures, and it's being depicted as a picture like this. So what we're seeing off to the western end of the state of Texas is high, thin clouds, registering very cold, depict as clouds on our map, whereas we also have a lot of clouds along the coastline, but atmosphere is very warm there, therefore not showing up greatly. Also, Minnesota, temperatures are so cold, it's actually clear, but the satellite is reading it as very heavy cloud cover when the majority of it right now is in the central part of the country. Taking a look at our own conditions right now, temperatures 39 degrees in Amarillo, it is 44 in Wichita Falls, and we're also looking at temperatures up to the 72-degree mark in Brownsville, basically temperatures mid-60s and the upper 50s for our evening temperatures, very moderate across the state. Tonight will drop. Now again, I'm going to hope it's 43 because I do want to be right on this. Temperatures basically low to mid-40s. Winds will be light and variable. Now tomorrow afternoon we can expect a very similar day as we had today. Temperatures right around that low 70 to mid-70 degree mark. Winds stay out of the south at 10 to 15 miles an hour. And our extended forecast is then calling for continued fair and mild conditions, probably very dry. Highs will be in the 70s, overnight lows in the 40s. And tomorrow morning, now again it'll be just a little bit chilly out there, but warmer than we've had the last 2 days. 43 degrees is what I'm going to say. Let's try and hold me to that for tomorrow night. We'll check in.
We're going for 43.
43 is it.
All right, you heard it. Thanks, Kathy. Next in sports, Vic announces the 1983 Lombardi Award winner.
And Darrell Royal Week continues.
Introducing Old El Paso Picante Salsa. It looks like this. Ordinary picante sauce looks like this. Which one looks better to you? Which one looks thicker, chunkier? The new picante salsa from Old El Paso does, doesn't it? The difference you see is a difference you'll taste. On your next tacos, your next omelet, your next nachos. Next time, come to Old El Paso, where our new picante salsa is thicker and chunkier.
When you think of giving him new leather accessories, you want Rolf's from Foley's. This Christmas, Rolf's offers you even more. A special gift set with billfold and matching key fob. A key holder you can personalize with his initials, or a solar calculator and notepad held in a leather case. But my favorite is his billfold and photo frame. Rolf's, perfect for him, from Foley's.
You know you want Foley's.
Hi, Forrest Tucker here for Weberg Furniture. I want to tell you about Weberg's biggest savings event. It's their amazing free credit offer. Huh? Free credit, absolutely no interest or finance charges on any furniture you buy, and you can take up to 1 full year to pay for it. Just imagine, now you can buy furniture at Weberg's unbeatable low prices and pay no credit charges whatsoever. You just can't beat these savings anywhere. Believe me.
Now, Vic Jacobs is here to answer the question, who is the best college lineman in the country?
Good evening, Zet. Good evening, Duff. Good evening, sports fans. College football's Prince of the Pits, crowned in Houston tonight, the 1983 Lombardi Lineman of the Year Award. It's Nebraska Husker Hulk offensive guard Dean Steinkuhler. Texas Trench King offensive guard Doug Dawson in the Final Four in Houston, but he was no match for the Husker hype machine out of Lincoln, who churned out their second straight Lombardi Award. Dave Remington, the great center, won it last year. And anybody who is anybody descending upon Dallas for the Washington Redskin game on Sunday, joining Gordon Smith in the Royal Box, is the King of Nepal. I'm not kidding, all right? The kid from Kathmandu's enthusiasm for the game is shared by NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle.
Best games in NFL history coming up on Sunday, Dallas and Washington.
It'll be a pistol. I'm not going to miss it, I'll tell you.
Any predictions?
No, just it'll be as all recent games have been, a great football game.
How do you say Washington Wimpskins in Nepalese? Who cares, right? Vic predicts Dallas 31, Washington 27. And from the mighty Strawn in San Marcos tonight, Southwest Texas State basketball. After 3 straight wins, they dropped their second in a row tonight. Texas Wesleyan applied the hit. The Rams from Fort Worth beat Bob Derryberry's Bobcats despite a strong 28-point performance by Billy Crystal. Southwest Texas drops now to 3 up and 2 down. The Rams now 4-3, and the Bobcats will try to get even in Fort Worth next Friday night. Okay. The ultimate football coaching honor was bestowed on former Texas Longhorn coach Darrell Royal induction into the College Football Hall of Fame on Tuesday night. But has the coach permanently retired those headsets?
You know, you never make a flat statement, because if my belly starts to growl and I get a little hungry, I'll go back to work. But until that time, no, I'm not going to take a coaching job anywhere.
Okay.
I hope that never happens. If I've got it planned right, it won't.
Darrell Royal has been dubbed the Texas football dynasty builder, and you say, why a dynasty? Well, check out the coach's statistics. It'll make any coach drool. Never a losing season in 20 years at the helm. Now, how long is 2 decades, you ask? Well, 6. Count them, 6 chief executives held office during the reign of Royal. That's Texas-style Longhorn longevity. 3 national championships, the bottom line right there, including a 30-game winning streak. And Royal squads were the sultans of the Southwest Conference, including the reaping of cotton 6 straight seasons. Bowl trips was akin to breathing during the Royal reign. 16 postseason games in the 20-year span. 9 journeys to Dallas for the cotton, plus a sheer domination that no coach in the Southwest Conference has ever matched. And hey, Here's a guy who puts up some of the most incredible numbers in college football coaching history, and all he gets from the Austin Statesman is a picture 2 days late, right? And while the other two TV stations virtually ignored the biggest story in Texas on Tuesday night. So for shoddy coverage of a monumental evening in Texas sports history. So Statesman, Channel 7, 24, I'm naming numbers, you heard them, you media types, you guys see it for ignoring the greatest event in Texas history on Tuesday night. You guys see it? You see the brick? You got it. And that's it from the nation's capital.
Thank you, Vic. No love lost there. Just ahead, this week's restaurant review.
Tonight, Rob takes us out to Peduncles.
For the merriest Christmas ideas at really low prices, no one puts it together like Target. Now's the time to save on Target's entire stock of artificial Christmas trees. Save 1/3 on 2 to 7.5 foot high trees. Choose flock trees or green trees with long or short needles. All are flame retardant and come with stand. A beautiful selection of artificial Christmas trees, now 1/3 off. This Christmas, shop and save at Target.
No matter where you're driving in the Hill Country, or any place in Texas for that matter, you'll enjoy it more in 84 from Cimarron. You'll enjoy the savings too, because we'll save you at least $100 or pay you $300 in cash. And we guarantee it. Put it in writing in a notarized buyer's bond.
Cimarron, Chevy Olds Buick, Highway 281 South, Vernon, Texas.
It's not enough to be fast. Today it's got to be good.
At Back in a Flash 1-hour photo finishers, we're not just fast, we're the best. The best for convenient locations and professional results on Kodak paper. And price, about the same as everybody else. In some cases, less. And that's why there's nobody better than Back in a Flash, or faster.
We keep your pictures looking good, and you get your pictures back in a flash.
Texans like everything big, right? Well, tonight, restaurant critic Rob Balin visits Peduncles, a place that has Texas-sized burgers.
Welcome to Peduncles, ultimate hamburgers, like the sign says. You know, upon first glance, Peduncles appears to be another one of those high-tech hamburger joints with 3- and 4-syllable names. But you know, on a closer examination, while it may not be ultimate, it certainly is legitimate. I've got no beef with Peduncles about the way they array their meat. Start out with a nice, good red hunk of it. Move over to Manuel, who chops and slices to order, into the grinder, and then into the cutest little patty maker I've ever seen. Plop, plop, count them as they come out, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and then into the kitchen, where they bake the white and the wheat rolls and the cookies. And then you order. Hey, 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 I'm a canny orderer, folks. And the pickup, oh, it's coming, you can feel it. And finally, to the accoutrements, pile them on, and then dinner. And after all that anticipation, they finally let you sit down and eat. Not a lot of variety here, but what there is quite good, and from what I'm told, very popular. French fries, mountains of them, they're good. These are trifle overdone, but very, very nice. A ribeye steak, get a good look at that. With a buttered roll, you gotta like it. A hot dog smothered in onions, and finally, what I'm told is one of the top 2 or 3 cheeseburgers, or hamburgers in this case, in Austin. On the Balin burger scale from 1 to 10, the burgers here get a 9 for freshness and frivolity. Service you do yourself, and the ambiance, I'd give that an 8, an 8.5. For News 36, I'm Rob Balin, dining out at Peduncles, like us Texans say it, where I've never met a burger I haven't liked.
Finally tonight, the illegal drug cocaine may not be good for your head, but researchers say that it can be good for your teeth. The government of Peru announced today it plans on marketing a new toothpaste and chewing gum derived from the coca plant, the source of the illicit drug. Company officials say that they found Peruvian peasants who traditionally chew the leaves of the coca plant had better teeth than those who did not.
How would you know? Who would feel any pain?
Probably the only country in the world where you can get arrested for brushing your teeth.
That's right.
That's our report for tonight. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening.
Good night.
The news brought to you tonight in part by Foley's.
touchdown, unofficial touchdown time for the main gear, 10:07:47:23.
The best gifts at Christmas are those that could be cherished for a lifetime. For him, Benol's Jewelers has a full selection of jewelry to perfectly fit his personality. For her, dinner rings that blossom on her hand like a flower, magnificent pearls of timeless beauty, golden ribbons of necklaces and chains, or watches and bracelets to adorn her wrist. And what woman could resist the ultimate expression of love? Exquisite jewelry from Benol's, where quality is the first consideration. Jewelry, the gift that'll be cherished for a lifetime from Benol's.
Here in the Southwest, energy usage concerns everyone. That's why more folks are turning to natural gas, an old-fashioned value with new technology. It's clean, efficient, and economical.
We're the source you can depend on, so remember us by name. We're Southern Union Gas, and we're the keeper of the flame.
Enjoy your pizza, and here's your free bowling coupon.
Oh, what's this?
From now until January 1st, with every Mr. Gaddy's pizza, you get a coupon for one free game of bowling.
Great. Kids, now we can go bowling.
Oh, neat.
You can use the free bowling coupon at any of the fine bowling centers in Austin, Round Rock, and San Marcos. And while you're bowling...
Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone from pollution. Texas Instruments today announced it is cutting back its workforce in Austin by 75 people. Company officials say that reduction will cut overhead expenses in the data systems area. We'll have those stories and a lot more for you, including sports and weather, of course, on the Channel 7 News 6 o'clock report. In the meantime, stay tuned now for Dan Rather and the CBS Evening News.
Good evening. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Deregulation and rocketing fuel prices helped send much of the nation's airline industry into a tailspin. But today, one troubled carrier seems headed for what its chairman describes as a brighter day. And Steve Croft reports those high hopes are fed by a proposal some are calling an historic development in the history of corporate labor relations.
Just 2 months ago, Eastern Airlines was demanding that its employees take a 15% pay cut or the airline would have to go into bankruptcy. In the last 24 hours, Eastern finally won its wage concessions, but the price was a chunk of the airline.
I'm just very pleased to announce that the employees of Eastern Airlines have just purchased 25% of the company.
Negotiators for Eastern's 37,000 employees have agreed to give up 18 to 22% of their paychecks in exchange for Eastern stock. 12 million shares by the end of 1984, or 25% of the airline. In addition, the employees won the right to name 4 representatives to Eastern's board of directors.
This is truly not a pay cut or a pay concession. This is an investment vehicle, not consistent with what you've seen anywhere that I've known of, at least in corporate America.
What Eastern gets out of the deal is $360 million in capital for 1984 and some productivity concessions that will make the airline more competitive.
We have put in place a mechanism so that we can surmount any obstacle, including the lowest of the low-cost carriers.
With $129 million in losses so far this year, Eastern is still a long way away from being financially healthy. But its newest stockholders are gambling that a fifth of their paychecks will give Eastern something it's been missing since 1979, a profit. Steve Croft, CBS News, Miami.
Officials today announced that Ford Motor Company will spend $168 million over 5 years improving its aging Rouge Steel subsidiary outside Detroit. The announcement came 3 months after Ford threatened to shut the nation's 8th largest steelmaker because it said the facility was losing big money. Today, Ford officials said the improvements will make Rouge Steel one of the most modern steel mills in the country. But Ray Brady reports that kind of business investment so far hasn't played a major role in the drama of recovery.
They've heard all about the economic recovery, so the news these men got this week was doubly shocking. This Milwaukee foundry, which makes equipment for heavy industry, is closing down for good.
Their company is claiming that they have no buyers for their machines. The people with the big money just aren't spending any of it right now.
It is the shadow which darkens the 11-month-old economic recovery.
While many companies once again are making huge profits, so far they've been reluctant to invest those profits in new plants and new machinery.
In fact, the Commerce Department this week estimated that capital spending, which picked up in the last 3 months of 1983, will increase at a much slower rate in the first half of 1984. That worries experts.
The recovery depends ultimately upon continued investment in plant and equipment and people and innovation.
Much of American industry still operates as it did in Henry Ford's day. Changing the size or shape of a part meant expensive retooling. But with innovative machine tools like these, new parts can be made much less expensively just by changing the head of the machine, not by retooling from scratch. While it is expensive to buy, this system is widely used in Japan, though not in the U.S. The Kearney and Trecker plant in Milwaukee makes the systems.
In general, I'd say business is not very adventuresome in this country.
Its attitude, Maracas says, is this.
Don't do anything new unless you're really sure it's going to work and be very profitable right away.
But he adds there is reason for optimism. During the recession, factories were using only 69% of capacity. Many businessmen saw no reason to build plants or buy equipment. Now the figure is up to nearly 80%. The hope is business soon will have to expand to keep up with orders. If systems like these are not added soon, experts say, the economy is headed for even bigger trouble.
2/3 of all machine tools in use today are at least 10 years old. That alone is troubling evidence that U.S. industry may not be adopting new technology fast enough to keep up with foreign competition.
Which experts warn could mean that future recessions will last a lot longer than the one we've just been through. Ray Brady, CBS News, Milwaukee.
I didn't think my parents would understand electronics, so I showed them how simple the Smith Corona electronic portable typewriter is to use. Well, they understood when I told them it has a memory, so it can do neat things like lift off a whole line of mistakes, and do automatic centering and underlining, and things like that, all at a price they could afford. This Smith Corona even works as a printer with my computer, which will help with my homework. Speaking of homework...
The Smith Corona electronic portable, advanced typewriter technology made simple.
This is the most remarkable vacuum cleaner ever made. The new Hoover Concept 2 with electronic speed control and power drive to make vacuuming easy. And with this, a cleaner within a cleaner, which detaches for cleaning furniture, stairs, and dozens of other things. The remarkable 2-in-1 cleaning force. The new Hoover Concept 2. It's all the vacuum cleaners you'll ever need.
For all the White House explanations after the fact, comments made by President Reagan's counselor, Edwin Meese, about the poor and hungry in America today produced reactions that were not only fast but furious. White House correspondent Leslie Stahl reports.
The Reagan administration has in the past been charged with being insensitive to poor people. That charge surfaced again today after White House counselor Edwin Meese, in an interview, suggested that many people who go to soup kitchens could pay for their food.
I think some people are going to soup kitchens voluntarily. I know we've had considerable information that people go to soup kitchens because the food is free, and that's easier than paying for it.
In the interview with wire service reporters, Meese also questioned whether there were hungry children in America. He said, "I've heard a lot of anecdotal stuff, but I haven't heard any authoritative figures."
Each of the steps that we have taken, whether it's budget cuts, whether it's reform of programs, has been to make sure that those who are truly in need have been taken care of. I think this administration has demonstrated its heart.
Meese went on to say that allegations of hunger in America are purely political. But people who run soup kitchens say what they're seeing has nothing to do with politics.
Hunger is a very real thing right here in Chicago. You can see it right here in our dining room, that we have people who have no source of income. Many of them are homeless. Many of them are elderly people on fixed incomes.
As he left for Camp David, President Reagan declined to comment. But spokesman Larry Speaks responded to Meese's remarks, saying, obviously there is hunger. He ticked off a long list of food programs the government funds and said with all the money being spent, if substantial numbers of people are not getting enough food, are indeed hungry, then we want to know why. The Democrats moved quickly to try to make today's comments a hot campaign issue.
But it's also symptomatic of a much broader attitude of a bunch of people who have been raised and nurtured in country clubs across America, who could care less about people who are out of work, elderly people in poverty, or children who are not receiving adequate nutrition.
There is no question that we have more on the soup lines and more in poverty, and to say that they're there because they're getting a free lunch, I just think that it's the instinct of a Scrooge.
Meese did not respond to requests from CBS News for an interview. White House officials say they can't believe Meese could be so insensitive, politically insensitive, that is, to question the motives of poor and hungry people just 2 weeks before Christmas. Leslie Stahl, CBS News, the White House.
The Justice Department today sued Shell Oil in the biggest toxic waste cleanup case yet, pollution around the Rocky Mountain Arsenal near Denver. The government says Shell should be made to shell out almost $1.9 billion in cleanup costs. That hazardous waste from the Shell facility for many years has damaged or destroyed the environment, land, sea, and air, fish, birds, and wildlife. The Justice Department stressed that Shell is not being asked to pay for any environmental damage caused by the Army's own use of this arsenal area. Shell said tonight it will vigorously oppose the suit in court, and the cleanup costs, Shell said, should be nowhere near $1.9 billion. And on the East Coast, a dispute over who will pay to clean up polluted Chesapeake Bay, source of a third of the nation's oysters and half the blue crabs. Environmental Protection Agency Chief William Ruckelshaus told Chesapeake Bay area governors today the cleanup costs there up to $1 billion over the next decade. But the major share of the cleanup cost, he said, will have to come from the states. Fish population in the bay has been declining for years. The body of the young black man was found hanging lynch-style from a small tree on a residential street in Mobile, Alabama. That was more than 2 years ago. Today, Renee Ferguson reports a courtroom heard that killing was the work of the Ku Klux Klan.
Testifying for the prosecution, James Tiger Knowles pointed at his fellow Ku Klux Klansman Henry Hayes and said that together they killed 19-year-old Michael Donald in March 1981 because he was black. Donald was on his way to buy cigarettes when he was abducted at gunpoint. This wooded area outside of Mobile is where Knowles said they brought Donald. Knowles testified that they drove back to this neighborhood in Mobile. After playing cards for a while, he said they hanged Donald's body from a tree and that they had already strangled him with a rope, beaten him with a tree limb, and cut his throat to make sure he was dead. Another Klansman, Teddy Kaiser, testified that he saw Knowles at the card game.
Well, his shirt was just red with blood all over.
2 years and 3 months later, the FBI arrested Hayes. Knowles turned state's evidence. Observers say the Ku Klux Klan in Alabama has about 2,000 members who in recent years have become more openly active. Among them, Henry Hayes' father.
I'm a Klansman, that's all I can say. I'm a Klansman, that's my son.
Many people have the impression that the Klan are just 25 guys in uniform marching down the street and believe them to be a joke. This certainly shows that that's not true.
Hayes will take the stand in his own defense tomorrow. The prosecution is asking the death penalty. The case is expected to go to the jury in the afternoon. Renee Ferguson, CBS News, Mobile, Alabama.
I have to know and trust the products I bring into my home, and that's especially true of our pain reliever. The pain reliever I give my family is Tylenol. I discovered Tylenol in the hospital after the birth of my second child, and I really liked the way it worked. Turns out Tylenol is the pain reliever hospitals use most, and that's been true for more than 10 years. As a mother, I find that very reassuring.
For relief you can trust Tylenol. Hospitals do. Tylenol, safety sealed for your protection.
Christmas warmth is in the giving of gifts that show you care. So give long robes and gowns so pretty, they're ones you'd like to wear. Soft brush saffron nylon gowns in many styles and colors. Cozy, cuddly, fleecy robes. See these and many others while they're sale priced for giving at a Kmart store near you. And keep moms and aunts and special friends warm the whole year through.
Kmart, we've got it, and we've got it good.
There was an especially heavy police guard at Warsaw's airport today, all for one family. Solidarity leader Lech Walesa, his wife Danuta, and their 13-year-old. Wałęsa traveled with them from Gdansk and saw them off on their trip to Oslo, Norway, where they will receive for him the Nobel Peace Prize. Wałęsa himself did not make the trip because he feared Poland wouldn't let him back in the country. Some hard bargaining in Damascus today between the Syrian and Lebanese foreign ministers reportedly has resulted in a major new ceasefire by Lebanon's warring factions. No further details available at this hour. Yet another tense and dangerous scene today at Beirut's airport. U.S. Marines based there on maximum alert following a rocket grenade and mortar barrage by Muslim militiamen. A Marine and a sailor were injured slightly. The Marines retaliated with small arms, grenades, and shoulder-fired anti-tank missiles. The retaliation reportedly caused far more damage than did the attack. In northern Lebanon's port city of Tripoli, there was an attack today against Yasser Arafat's besieged PLO loyalist forces. About 20 rounds from Israeli gunboats hit Arafat's most important base. And this prompted Arafat to issue an appeal to Syria to stop its fight with him and join again his with Israel.
I am sending my appeal again, an urgent appeal to our brothers Syrians, so that to open a new page so that we can cooperate together again against the Israeli aggression.
Secretary of State Schultz today sent a clear message to Israel: don't interfere with the planned evacuation of PLO fighters from Tripoli. Speaking to reporters at the end of a NATO foreign ministers meeting in Brussels, Schultz said the United States favors that evacuation. He also said, and I quote, "For what it is worth, Soviet President Andropov is back at work, and as far as I know, he is in charge," unquote. The ailing 69-year-old Andropov has not been seen for several months. In Buenos Aires today, there was a homecoming for Isabel Perón, the former cabaret dancer who succeeded her late husband as Argentine president, only to be ousted by a military coup 7 years ago. She had been living in self-exile in Spain. Mrs. Perón was invited back for tomorrow's inauguration of Argentina's first civilian government since her overthrow.
Coffee, Dan? Stay ahead.
Oh, thanks. I've been listening to Spatial Sound on this Magnavox portable AM/FM radio. Great sound, with or without the lightweight headphones. Best Buy price at just $13.99.
Our other December Best Buy is the Mr. Coffee 10-cup drip coffee maker. Brews perfect coffee in just seconds.
That's delicious.
And with the $7 rebate, it's only $14.99.
Ace is the place.
Merry Christmas.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man.
Here comes the most advanced piece of machinery in shaving history. The new Norelco Rotatract, the razor that challenges the world. Every blade, every electric, every shaving instrument ever made. In closeness, comfort, speed, and quality. It's the shaving machine you've been waiting for, or your money back. Advanced technology Rotatract razors. The first to challenge the world. New from Norelco.
Tonight, another in our series of early looks at the election '84 presidential candidates. Tonight, a look at and a talk with Democratic candidate Jesse Jackson. He has never held elective office, but his powers of speech are the envy of those who have.
If you want somebody who will love the children and feed the hungry and clothe the naked and study war no more, here am I, here am I, here am I, send me.
He is, by just about everybody's estimate, one of the most spellbinding orators of our time. The man can turn commonplace cliches into electrifying rhetoric.
America's greatness lies in the fact that we have educated more people than in the civilization. We have fed more people. We made more sick people well. We provided more hope. That's our greatness. Mr. President!
His style generates genuine excitement.
God bless you. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Witness the University of Texas.
That many young Americans were inclined. We need to wait a minute. They just want the doors open, Rev. We're going to open the doors so you can hear, but you cannot come past these ropes.
Jesse Jackson's base is here in the South, in cities such as Atlanta, with a heavy black population. His appeal, however, goes across racial lines to the young and to those who, he says, are stuck at the bottom. His appeal may be dressed in gaudy rhetoric, but the text is taken straight from the Old Testament of New Deal Democrats.
A nation is finally measured by how it treats its children in the dawn of life, how it treats poor folks in the pit of life, and how it treats old folks in the sunset of life.
On the stump, Walter Mondale uses exactly the same quote, attributing it to Hubert Humphrey. Jackson's as strong about peace as Alan Cranston.
If I were president, I would challenge Andrew Poff to a meeting in Geneva. I would show the world of a willingness to risk for peace to save the human race.
Jackson's sentiments about Reaganomics would make John Glenn comfortable.
Reaganomics has failed business generally. Voodoo economics, which Vice President Bush correctly analyzed, has come to haunt us. I want you to stand right now if you're not registered.
Beyond the oratory, what is unique to this campaign is the call to register voters.
Well, your vote does count.
I hear a lot of talk around, still a lot of talk, that the only reason you're in this is to get blacks registered.
The key to the defeat of Ronald Reagan is to expand the party. When we make room for the locked out and increase registration, we do not divide the party, we expand the party. If the Democrats make room for blacks, Hispanics, and women, it cannot lose in 84. If it does not make room for us, it cannot win in 84.
The call to register often resembles a religious crusade. Witness Southern University.
If you're here today and you're not registered to vote in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, stand right now. Come right on down to the altar. Come on down. Shall we take these students down and get them enfranchised right now? Certainly. They need to. Where are the buses? One of the great gifts of a democracy is the right to vote, and the right to run, and the right to make a choice.
Listen to Jesse Jackson, and you hear the echoes of his tutor, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Some other black leaders don't like it. They consider it unfair and undeserved. But whatever happens to this try for the White House, Jesse Jackson can lay legitimate claim to the King legacy. In his commentary tonight, Bill Moyers looks at one way Jesse Jackson is affecting not only his Democratic rivals, but the whole Democratic Party. Bill?
Dan, there was good news and bad news for the Democrats this week. The good news is there's life in the old party yet. The bad news is it could kill them. The campaign is crackling with a fight over the rules for selecting delegates. This is precisely the kind of fracas the Democrats hoped to eliminate when they adopted new procedures last year. The stated purpose was to shorten the primary season and to end the chaos which in years past had made Democrats one of the most open parties in the world and sometimes one of the most beatable. The new rules seem to be working to the point of producing a campaign about as feisty as the Miss America pageant. But now comes Jesse Jackson like John the Baptist thundering from the wilderness. He says the new rules discriminate against minority voters. They do in a way, but then again, they don't. Some of Jackson's present black supporters helped to draw them up before he was in the race. Mainly the rules discriminate against candidates who are behind, like Jackson. Sure enough, they were largely the handiwork of friends of Walter Mondale and Edward Kennedy. At the time, this figured to be a two-man race, which they didn't want disturbed by poachers. You can't blame them for that, but neither can you blame Jackson, Hart, Hollings, and McGovern for belching rebellion. They're like the one fellow in the poker game down in Texas who was told by the other, "Now play the cards fairly, Jack. I know what I dealt you." In politics, that's not a joke, it's an issue. a healthy one if the Democrats are adroit, and Jackson wants to be more than a spoiler. But the trouble is that just about every time Democrats think they have their house in order, one of them starts a fire in the parlor.
My friends like the showers better than the pool since I installed Polynex massaging showers. 4 different shower heads. I save up to $190 on water and energy. Powerful jet massage, wide massage, fine spray, coarse spray. And I save even more on the steamy mist shower. The only thing I don't like about my Polynex massaging shower head, I can't get the girls out of the shower. Girls, nothing. Dial massage shower heads from Polynex.
Good heavens.
Oh, Paul Masson Chablis.
Yes, art lives. Even in this room. Nearly 100 years ago, Paul Masson had the audacity to make his wine slowly and with the greatest care. This elegant Chablis is proof that at Paul Masson, making wine is an art that has never changed.
Would you believe I did this one in 3 hours?
Yes, I would. Paul Masson will sell no wine before its time.
I thought Canon came up with personal cartridge copying just to simplify my business. Why else would they make maintenance as easy as changing a cartridge? But now, Canon's PC-10 and PC-20 are minding everyone's business. Even my dentist has one. He changes copy colors faster than you can say, ah. Canon's PC copiers, now they're minding everyone's business. Hey, these are mine. Oh.
We'll use gas.
For information, call toll-free. Canon Personal Cartridge Copying. Plain and simple.
Cowboy actor Slim Pickens died last night of pneumonia in Modesto, California. Slim Pickens was 64. A former rodeo rider, he had made dozens of westerns beginning in the 1940s, but all those rides on all those horses didn't bring him the kind of fame he achieved for the ride he took on a nuclear bomb in the 1964 movie Dr. Strangelove. There also are some long rides ahead for U.S. Navy reservists, those weekend warriors whose knowledge of U.S. military activity around the world has been limited for the most part to what they learned from the news. Eric Ingberg in Norfolk, Virginia explains.
Out came the uniforms and the shoe polish as 88 men who were civilians only last week got ready to go to the coast of Lebanon. All naval reservists, they volunteered to serve for 3 weeks or more aboard the battleship New Jersey, which has been at sea for half a year.
Yeah, the guys aboard that ship need a break. They've been out there for a long time. They got to come home to their families.
So men like Cook, who's a plumber, along with businessmen, teachers, and some unemployed who frankly needed the money, are giving up Christmas and New Year's with their families to put to sea.
I was just kind of curious, you know, I see this all on the news and everything, so I just want to kind of be over there with everybody else.
Jim True served 2 tours in Vietnam, then entered the ministry. Sunday, he resigned as pastor of this church in Des Moines, Iowa, said goodbye to his wife and 2 children, and signed on as a chaplain's assistant aboard the New Jersey.
This Christmas, the Lord has asked me and my children to give him a very special present, and we're giving him our best. We're giving him, my husband, their dad, to go over there and to be with men that aren't going to be able to be home for Christmas.
It's an opportunity to minister to the people overseas, too, during the Christmas time, you know, which is really a depressing time for people to be away.
The volunteers range in age from 20 to 54 and share a sense of loyalty to the Navy, which pushes them into overcoming their military rustiness. That and the tough chiefs.
Just don't screw it up between now and the time you get there.
The Navy says all the volunteers have active duty experience, although only a few have ever served on a battleship.
We drill the reserves 2 weeks each year anyway, so it seemed why not put some of their training into practice by actually having them do something that needs to be done without going to the regulars.
At today's inspection, this crew got the word. They head for the Mediterranean by plane tomorrow. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Norfolk.
Until we meet once more, he is wishing you a happy voyage home. Dan Rather reporting from New York. Good night.
There are 2 rechargeable lights here. Both have been on for 2.5 hours. The one still shining is Ready Light. Ready Light stands alone and swivels its beam. But most important, Ready Light shines longer, about an hour longer. So what'll it be, the light that failed or Ready Light? From the makers of First Alert Smoke Detectors, will remind you that smoke detectors on every floor can save your life.
Roger Staubach for Rolaids.
How do you spell relief?
R-O-L-A-I-D-S. We don't really eat when we should or what we should, so I usually take a Rolaids.
For acid indigestion, I spell relief R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids really does spell relief.
Like a sponge, Rolaids antacid medicine consumes 100% of the acid required to give millions 100% relief.
I eat on the run and I spell relief R-O-L-A-I-D-S. For millions of Americans, Rolaids spells 100% relief.
This year, say happy holidays by phone.
There are phones that roam.
Phones that remember.
Phones that tell if it's May or December.
Styled phones. Wild phones.
Phones of the future.
Phones of the past.
And all of them designed to last because they're AT&T, the gifts that set the standards. See them at your AT&T phone center, now at thousands of leading retail stores.
It's the game of the year. The Washington Redskins battle the Dallas Cowboys for first place in the NFC East, plus other regional doubleheader action Sunday on CBS Sports.
This is CBS.
Good evening. Southwestern Bell has won a tentative victory on its request for an interim rate hike. And the city of Austin is concerned about possible pollution of the Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone.
Texas Instruments today announced it is cutting back on its workforce in Austin. We'll have those stories all tonight's news, sports, and weather straight ahead.
Lamar Savings has launched an aggressive brand of leadership to pioneer the new financial frontier. Lamar Savings, offering the pioneer tradition to another generation of Texans.
It's Academy for Christmas. As a little boy wrote Santa years ago, please bring me a football, a wagon, and a doll for my sister, and please buy them at Academy because they're cheaper. Shop the largest assortment of Coleman products, all at the lowest prices. Jackets of all kinds, all leather bomber jackets, $98.88. Tiger jackets or one lot of parkas, $12.88 each. Jogging suits, one lot, only $6.66. Sleeping bags, all fibers and fills, all one-half price. Backpacks, $2.88 and up at Academy.
Rivera is also accused of attempted murder in last September's abduction, robbery, and shooting of a 24-year-old UT co-ed, Lee Leonard. In both cases, the two female victims had gone out alone at night to use electronic banking machines. And the father of one of those victims says he hopes the tragedy that claimed the life of his daughter can help save other potential victims by sending a message.
The main thing I want to do is to have the people out there that have wives and girls and everyone realize not to go out alone. Daytime or nighttime, always have someone with them. I think that's what caused this whole thing.
After today's hearing, Rivera was taken back to the Gardner Juvenile Detention Home to pick up his possessions. He will now be locked up in the Travis County Jail and charged with capital murder. Even though he had been certified as a legal adult, Rivera cried like a child as he prepared to leave. There are two types of punishment for capital murder, the death penalty and life in prison. But in this case, Joe Rivera is exempt from the death penalty because at the time Patricia Curry was murdered, he was considered a juvenile. That means that if he is convicted of the capital murder charge, he faces an automatic term of life in prison at the Texas Department of Corrections. Keith Elkins, 24 Action News.
Keith adds that Rivera's bond has been set at $200,000.
A San Antonio policeman is reported in critical condition this evening after he was shot in the chest this morning, apparently by his own wife. Cheryl Emerson has a story from San Antonio.
The incident was first reported as an officer in trouble at 9:15 this morning at the Waterbridge Apartments. Officials say 22-year-old patrolman William Arthur Williams, 2.5 years with the police force, was shot in the left chest with his own .357 caliber service revolver. The bullet struck just 2 inches above his heart. Williams and his 23-year-old wife, Gayleen, have been married 1 year and 8 months. She's been charged with attempted murder and is being held in the Bexar County Jail on $7,500 bond.
They had a family disturbance of some sort, and one thing led to another, and the shot was fired.
So far, Mrs. Williams has refused to talk to the authorities.
After we advised her of her rights, she said she would like to have an attorney, and she would not give us any written statement of any kind.
Another unidentified woman reported to be a friend of Patrolman Williams was at the apartment complex at the time of the shooting. She was questioned by police and released. No word from police on how she was involved in this morning's incident. Cheryl Emerson, reporting from San Antonio.
Good news tonight for Texas consumers of Southwestern Bell. Late this afternoon, an administrative law judge for the Public Utility Commission granted Southwestern Bell a $653 million interim rate increase. Jeff Willis standing by live now at the PUC. Jeff, how will these rates work?
Well, Margie, to understand why our monthly phone bills will not be going up in spite of this latest Bell interim rate increase, I think it's important to take a look back at some of the case history involving this case. Bell wanted these interim rates mainly because the PUC has twice delayed its ruling on Bell's record $1.7 billion rate increase request. Bell says that when it splits from its parent company, AT&T, on January 1st, the company stands to lose millions and millions of dollars in revenue, and the company needs to pick up some sort of new revenue to take the place of the money that they're going to lose. That's why the company filed on November 18th for $978 million in interim rate increases. That figure would have boosted monthly home telephone bills $2.60 and monthly business phone bills $3.70. The PUC staff countered Bell's proposal by recommending that Bell be given only $645 million, which could only be removed from long-distance carriers such as AT&T, MCI, and Sprint. But today, an administrative law judge for the PUC granted Southwestern Bell a $653 million rate increase, which basically can be recovered only from long-distance carriers. Bell's residential and business customers will see no increase as a result of this ruling. Bell officials have refused comment on today's ruling simply because they haven't had time to look over the order and make a firm comment. But consumers are looking on today's ruling as with sort of mixed feelings. Public counsel for the PUC, Jim Boyle, is with me here now. Jim, what kind of mixed feelings do you see on this?
Well, Jeff, I think on the positive side, local basic rates will not increase, and that's a great victory for consumers in this state, particularly considering that Southwestern Bell started asking for 3 times what the current rates are. So I think that's a very positive sign. On the negative side, the $653 million that were granted in this particular order is much too high. And all of that money in one form or another will be passed on to ratepayers, primarily through long-distance rates. These long-distance companies will increase their rates, I assume, and pass those costs on to consumers. So I think it's a mixed bag at this point.
Do you plan an appeal?
Yes, I think we will, because this figure is too high. I don't think that Southwestern Bell is entitled to interim rate relief. I think clearly that after the first of the year, they'll be able to provide the same quality of service they're providing now without an interim rate increase.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Boyle. The interim rates will go into effect on January 1st. And before that time, it's expected that the appeal will go through that Mr. Boyle was talking about, and there will be another hearing before the Public Utility Commission on this matter. Jeff Wool, 24 Action News, reporting live from the PUC.
Thank you, Jeff. And more economic news. The Texas Instrument plant in Austin today announced what it calls a reduction in force, affecting some 75 TI employees. The sprawling Texas Instruments plant in North Austin has a workforce of some 3,000 people. Company officials say today's action was taken to reduce overhead expense levels of the data systems business area. 2 weeks ago, TI offered employees who were planning to resign or retire financial bonuses if they would do so early. While a number of workers voluntarily accepted that offer, company officials wouldn't say how many did.
Today marks the end of a year of festivities on the University of Texas campus. All of the celebrating has been because this is UT's centennial year. So today, as the centennial flag was lowered, students, school officials, and alumni gathered to say happy birthday one more time. Judy Maggio reports.
The centennial flag was raised 10 months ago to signal the start of the University of Texas 100th birthday. But today was time to officially call an end to this year of academic goal setting and celebration.
This university is much better because we celebrated, acknowledged, and took time to say, happy 100th birthday. We have many reasons to be grateful. Let us join together in a pledge to sustain the spirit of this keenly exciting centennial year for at least 100 more years.
With the flag in the hands of UT President Peter Kwan. The UT alumni and students joined in to sing the school song one last time in honor of the centennial year. Judy Maggio, 24 Action News.
A man whose image almost shouted cowboy died last night at a hospital in California. Louis Burt Lindley Jr., better known to all of us as Slim Pickens, had been battling pneumonia ever since brain surgery last year. Gail Phillips takes a look at the cowboy actor who won't soon be forgotten.
His real name was Louis Burt Lindley Jr., and for almost 30 years he was a rodeo rider, much to his father's dismay. But lucky for us, he went from dirt arenas to a sound stage, and he took with him the name of Slim Pickens, one he got from a rodeo promoter who told him that's all a cowboy gets with a career in rodeoing. In a May 1981 interview on Good Morning Austin with Marion Holloway, Pickens, who once lived in Wimberley just south of Austin, said, even though he was born and raised in California, he was glad he had the manner and voice of a real Texan.
Thank God I do sound that way, because with the face I got, if I sounded any different, I'd never get a job.
Pickens' movie career began in 1945. Besides movies like In Harm's Way, The Getaway, Blazing Saddles, and The Howling, Pickens also made guest appearances on television, on Beretta, The Switch, and Hawaii Five-0. But Pickens loved Westerns. He once called them our heritage. And to Central Texans, he'll probably be remembered most for his role in Honeysuckle Rose with Willie Nelson. Much of the movie was shot in Austin, and Pickens said working with Nelson was more like a 12-week paid vacation. Slim Pickens, dead at the age of 64.
We'll be back with more in a moment.
The tools of the builder's trade are not as simple as they used to be. But the basics of home building are. Quality and craftsmanship are still the prime ingredient. At Doyle Wilson Homes, we understand these basics, and it shows. Visit a Doyle Wilson model neighborhood and see the hometown atmosphere of our Heritage Series, and experience the elegance of the Governor's Collection. It's simple, really. Solid craftsmanship means quality homes, and that's the way we build them. Doyle Wilson Homes in select neighborhoods.
Bells presents Farrah Suede Sport Coats for the man who wants to look well-dressed with a minimum of effort. Whether completing a distinguished look or as casual sportswear, this blazer with its traditional two-button styling will become one of your all-time favorites. The name Farrah means a blazer that fits great, and Bells has it at an unbelievable price. Now on sale for $69.99 at Bells, of course.
More men are putting on more shirts and suits, in more colors and styles, in more sizes than ever before, from Joe Sharkey's Menswear. Why Joe Sharkey's? Because the long and short, big and tall, small, medium, and large of it is that nobody has more shirts and suits, in more colors and styles, in more sizes than Joe Sharkey's. Come in soon. Joe Sharkey's, 2 stores fit all.
This week on the 24th Saturday movie at 11, The Sun Also Rises, starring Tyrone Power, Ava Gardner, and Errol Flynn.
You crazy Americans, please go!
I beg your pardon, I am not an American.
Why don't you get married, you two?
We want to lead our own lives.
Yes, we have our careers.
The Sun Also Rises, this week on the 24th Saturday movie at 11.
Holiday time is when many of us escape on vacation. And on tonight's Health Watch, medical reporter Liz McDaniel looks at a problem that could turn serious when you travel.
During the holiday season, many people in Texas trade in their time cards for airline tickets and pack their bags for a well-deserved vacation. And while many people are off to ski resorts, about half of the people head south to Mexico or the Caribbean. But we all know what inevitably happens when you visit a foreign country. Some call it Montezuma's Revenge, but it's more delicately known as Turista. But there is something you can take to prevent getting sick on your vacation, and it's probably worth a trip to the doctor to get a prescription.
Dr. Tom McHorse says the best way to prevent Turista is watching what you eat combined with a preventative drug.
Some physicians also prescribe a medicine, an antibiotic like doxycycline or Septra, which will prevent the disease in about 90% of the cases if taken before you go on your trip, while you're there, and for the first day after you get home.
While you're in another country, the best way to avoid the bacteria that causes Turista is to eat hot cooked foods, bottled mineral waters, or soft drinks and fruit that you can peel. Stay away from leafy vegetables, ice, and cold sauces, which are most likely to spread bacteria. If you get sick anyway, the best remedy is plenty of non-milk fluids and the old reliable Pepto-Bismol. But doctors say the most important thing to remember about Turista is that it should last only a couple of days. If you're sick for more than 3 days, it's time to see a doctor. That way you won't bring back anything more than those vacation pictures home with you. Liz McDaniel, 24 Action News.
Tim Ross is coming up next. We had a little bit of sunshine, a few clouds today. Tim will let us know what the weekend looks like in just a moment.
Great pre-wrapped gifts by Swag at Dillard's. Only $12.50 and under, including a walnut belt and tie rack, handcrafted porcelain lint brush, versatile walnut clothes brush that's also a shoehorn and lint remover, fluorescent lantern and flashlight combination, handy 15-piece screwdriver set, pre-wrapped and ready for the tree. Gifts by Swag, now at Dillard's.
Your Chevy dealer's big USA 1 year-end sales drive is on. They're out to sell hundreds of Chevy cars and trucks by year's end. With so many to sell, it's dealing time. And to make it easy to buy now, here's a first-time offer from Chevrolet. Take retail delivery now and make no monthly payments until March 1st with GMAC financing. When you buy a new Chevette or Citation 2, or any new Blazer, pickup, Suburban, or El Camino.
To your Austin Chevrolet dealers, see Henna Chevrolet, Chevrolet Country, and Capital Chevrolet now.
Take it from a guy who's been around and knows who has the best prices in town, Frisco Electronics.
Now back in stock, the Texas Instruments 99 4A computer.
Hi, I am the talking speech synthesizer worth $100. Buy any 6 software cartridges and you get me free.
Frisco Electronics has the best selection of educational, home management, and game software anywhere. Prices start at $9.99. Texas Instruments.
Frisco Electronics.
Where to, McKean? Go, McKean. It's McKean. He's McKean. Hello, McKean.
McKean, only at Foley's.
Well, how can I say anything about the weather when Tim is wearing a tie that looks like that?
This little thing tickles my neck here. I don't know how I'm going to get through this weathercast.
What's the story behind this tie?
This is a special tie. This is, as you know, it's a Christmas tie, the old red and green. A Christmas tie from Pack 91 of the Cubbies of America and all the dens in Pack 91. I met last night out at Cedar Creek School with the Pack 91's awards banquet. They gave me an official Christmas tie, and I really appreciate it. And I want everybody to know. I'm going to leave the picture now for this person taking the close-up. Goodbye. For people involved in scouting, I appreciate you. It's a good program, and I appreciate the Cubbies out at Pack 91 and at all the dens in Pack 91. It's a fun time, and I appreciate my Christmas tie to get in the old festive season. Now, if I had to use one weather word to describe the weather today, this was inspired by Dick Ellis. He was sitting looking blankly out his window by his desk going, humma, humma, humma. Why didn't I call in sick today? Could have been out playing golf, like the news director. Come to think of it, he's been gone for a couple of days. Anyway, we hope you had a good day on just a gorgeous day for this time of year. Partly cloudy, temperature of 69 degrees. That humidity is at 81%, very high, probably going higher. Southeast breeze at 4. The barometer is holding steady. That's your current conditions as it is outside right now. Lake levels and Canyon Dam release. Now, the Canyon Dam release, weather's good enough to tube now, but the Canyon Dam release too low to do any tubing on the Guadalupe River. We have had just a trace of rain the past 24 hours in the Austin area. That's not enough to measure, but enough to kind of get clean cars dirty all over again. Overnight low last night was officially 57 degrees. Today's high finally got back up to 78. 64 the average high temperature this time of year, so the 78 is abnormally warm for this time of year. Temperatures will cool down over much of the nation as we go into tonight. You'll notice the warm, moist air has pushed that cold area, if you've been watching the last couple of days, further to the north, and I think over the next couple of days the freezes will be even further to the north and out of the state of Texas. But there is where the temperatures will be at or below 32 degrees tonight. This satellite photo came into our weather center a short while ago. The dot representing the Austin metropolitan area and all the wonderful surrounding communities. A little jut of clouds down through Texas. That is a weak cool front that actually came from the Dakotas last night, so it whistled right through the country toward Texas. It doesn't have much punch here, so we're not going to see much of an effect. Matter of fact, the cold front will go through tonight, and it'll get warmer tomorrow. Now, figure that one out. It's all explained meteorologically. It's slingshotted out of, someone really shot it out of Canada last night. It headed down south and always sneaked over to the southeast. By the time the back end of it got down to Texas, it didn't have much punch. We'll see warm, moist air build and push that cold front as a warm front out of the state tomorrow, so it actually really won't have an effect. It won't have a chance to do anything to Texas. But up in the north and the northeast, oh, did it have an effect. Temperature last night in International Falls, Minnesota, 29 degrees below zero, but it got warmer. They got up to 9 below by the end of the day today. Temperatures like 8 degrees at Bismarck today, 16 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, 4 inches of snow at Bradford, Pennsylvania, and the snow continues